Anyway, we are ready for the grand final here in our EMEA region. Let's see what both of these teams have in store for us. While VP, of course, looked really good against SSG, is this enough to make it work against ENCE? Matt, Mitch, what do you think?
I don't know, I'm on the same page as you guys. Jake wanted a Predator 4-0, but he didn't. I respect him giving a map. For what we saw last time
rare
from Jake, I really feel like ENCE, there's a tier break emerging in EMEA when before there wasn't really such a distinct one.
Yeah, it feels like both of these teams play a pretty similar style, or would like to play a pretty similar style. It's just that ENCE plays it at a higher level right here at the moment. So Samoa will be the first map pick. It'll be picked by ENCE. The last time it was Lijiang Tower to kick things off. So a little bit of a change up here coming in for our final. But yeah, I mean, they've been so solid just really all throughout the bracket. To see them kind of slip up here would be a bit shocking, I think, for a lot of people with how good they've been.
And ENCE have been involved in every single main event final in EMEA this year, but there's a difference today. There's a feeling in the air that this time it's meant to be for this team. They've looked so clean, almost flawless over their run here to this grand final. What they did at Virtus.Pro was more than enough to shake our faith in what the Bears can do against a roster like this. It's all about peaking at the right time, folks, and the time is now for ENCE. It's going to be a Ramatra composition as they come out of the gates. We're off to Volcano to kick things off.
Yeah, and it'll be the May here for Kevster, so they really want to kind of split off this Sigma and make Ridoro pay. A nice dynamite there from Shockwave, though, off the rip. It's going to put down some serious damage on it.
They're going with the Sauna Faro once more, who's been an absolute nuisance over so many of these control maps and other maps in general for Virtus.Pro. Great start for them here. They surge ahead after winning the poke duel decidedly. And straight away, ENCE bundle back to spawn.
Yeah, the Sauna Faro putting down some damage there, but it's really the dynamite from Shockwave. It just kind of extends those healing resources to a point that ENCE cannot kind of survive all of that poke damage coming on through. So VP with a fast fight, take our first point as Kevster moves away from the May, already over to the Tracer. So May Stonk's pretty down on today, as we've not seen the May be pretty effective anyway.
Variation here, though, is Virtus.Pro are playing the Baptiste now in this comp. Not Nusio Kiriko like they did with the Farah on Lijiang Tower. So a little bit harder to keep Sauna healed up, especially under this sort of threat of the Cassidy. It's going to be a trade here. Kevster and Gala both falling. Bob going to be thrown out by Shockwave, though he does see the Nemesis for Pistola just around the corner. So it gives him a wide berth. Pistola soaks his damage, but has to get off the point here. Virtus.Pro off to a blazing start.
Yeah, no way they can kind of get Vistola out of there, right? Kellex was extremely weak at the time, not going to be able to kind of get around the corner. Put that close. That's a really nice accretion, actually. They were almost going to be able to secure that kill. They do get Shockwave, though. Shockwave pushes out maybe a little bit far, trying to get that one onto Kellex, but kills are just being traded from both teams here as VP maybe push a little bit too far into the end spot.
Well, they priced themselves into it. They threw that amplification matrix down that, Canale virtually ignores Vistola in order to get his value from. And it ends up just, overexposing them a little bit to the players coming off spawn. Mild overheat there for Virtus.Pro, but they've got a good lead and they're verging on another gravitic flux, of which ENCE doesn't really have the capacity to interrupt in any way.
No, but they'll have an immortality field, right? Being able to kind of keep whoever gets hit in that alive. Also, giving the sound barrier available for Kellex. So, win that fight, right? VP getting a little bit aggressive there for ENCE. Allows them to hold on to just about everything. Nice Maywall there from Sauna. Blocks up the sight line, so not going to be able to have Kai and Sky put down some damage.
Maywall, though, doesn't allow them to put any pressure on Vistola. It allows them to limit the poke damage coming in from ENCE, rather, but that's it. Ooh, Shockwave takes a shot from Kai. Kevster was there with some extra damage, but you have to feel it was a little superfluous by the end. Pulse bomb in hand now, and no good reason to use it. It's all of Virtus.Pro on the back foot, decidedly. Into the spawn they go.
Yeah. And it feels like this meta in terms of tanks was made for Vistola, right? Being able to play Ramatra, Sigma, and Diva here. Now switching over to the Diva and can play all of them at an incredibly high level. One of the best in EMEA. Very difficult to kind of now use that May, right, to kind of trap that Diva. The Diva could just fly right over it, get around it. Doesn't not really bother there by the May.
In the past in Dallas, we questioned the ceiling of this team because of Vistola, because of that pull. Now we think it's one of their biggest boons.
I think
Kevster, though, dealt with Gala. They will notice the immortality field didn't quite find the mark. And it's going to be yet another ENCE fight here. They have really come alive now. Virtus.Pro make one mistake, and that's the problem against ENCE. You make one mistake and it will be exploited. You will be punished. And Virtus.Pro don't have a way back into this round outside of a sound barrier. Kelix has one of his own.
No, and this is going to be Rajaro switching over here to the D.Va as they try and get Immortality Field from Canale there in the spawn to save Sauna, but it doesn't connect, as this will be a Deadeye here from Kai. Maybe you can get a D-Mech as it's going to be Rajaro moving on the way to the point.
It would have if the D-Mech wasn't already happening. Rajaro knocked out of that robot pretty much straight away, and it's going to be a sound barrier for Virtus.Pro, but they virtually don't have a tank in play right now. Kelix, though, did drop. Sauna able to get the better of him there, and we'll have a flip briefly, but I say brief. Bob was thrown out here by Shockwave, so even without the Ashe in play, it's going to be hard for ENCE to swoop back in.
Yes, Kevster will get on point here, and Pistola is actually so weak, he's going to need to use his self-destruct here to just get a mech back on the point, so it will flip. Sauna extremely low. He can't contest. Somebody else has to get there, and they don't have anybody to step up. So that'll be ENCE taking round one.
Something that we saw in this round is actually really uncommon at this level of play, is that Baby D.Va being on the field for like any long period of time. It's rare to see the D-Mech happen at the start of the fight, right? Normally the D.Va is like very protective, you know, of that, make sure that they can get away and get healed. But it's pretty disastrous when D.Va is the first D-shoot. It's not a pure elimination in, you know, in a general sense, but Rajaro got a sound barrier in that fight, but Virtus.Pro couldn't really do anything with it. I had no way to apply any pressure whatsoever. Normally you want to jump off the map, but if you're getting D-Mech at the start of the fight, like you can't just reset midway through a fight. You don't have the choice.
Yeah, also two like unfortunate events for VP, right? It's that pulse bomb that Gala dies to. Looks like he was just slightly outside of the immortality field, and then they lose Sauna, who was like also like maybe the immortality field was a little bit late. So two unfortunate deaths just allow ENCE to snowball there. Let's look at this. So it'll be ENCE playing a Zarya-based composition here with the Genji. We've seen them do this a little bit throughout the main event, primarily into D.Va comps here. It'll be the Sigma though for VP. Control high ground a little bit harder to make this Zarya work.
And we saw it on Busan Mecha base, Matt, specifically, where Kevster was able to play it mid-range with those Zarya bubbles and get a lot of free poke and build a blade very quickly. However, you're still scared of accretion, which obviously doesn't care about the fact that Genji's blocking, so you've got to respect the Sigma, and it's hard to poke back against a Sigma comp at times, but look at this, straight off the rip, Pistola fully charged up and ready to absolutely melt Virtus.Pro. 3 kills for the Zarya, and so much free charge because the Genji's dangling himself in the face of Virtus.Pro, begging them to shoot him.
I mean, Kevster's extremely difficult to stop without the bubbles, right? You just provide the bubbles and you just allow it to just be free in the opponent's face on the Genji. Difficult for anybody to deal with, and this puts a lot of pressure on the Ashe, right? You know, Ashe obviously controls the range better than Cassidy, you know, in certain situations, but the Sauna just gets deleted there by Kev. But you know, when you have that dive coming into the Ashe, that's where the Cassidy would obviously be a better pickoff, you know, here, right, where Ashe not as easy to you know, deal with some of the flankers.
Matt, we saw Vasola briefly. He was still 100 charge after the fight. In fact, it was like at the start of the next fight in general. He's getting so much here for Kevster. Again, you've got to be careful with this grab. Don't want to have it eaten up and see that's why Vasola tries to get past Rajaro, but Kelix and Kai had already fallen. Virtus.Pro take the initiative in that fight, and the grab ends up being pointless.
Yeah, the M-Matrix puts a lot of damage down there from VP onto the players trying to follow that grab up, as still have not dealt with Pistola using these bubbles, trying to stay alive, but it will be a flip here for VP. They push up to the spawn, they get another kill. Nice stuff here for Virtus.Pro, as now it'll actually be Maga here. So I think you probably stay on the Genji just to end up using this blade, right? But seems like now they know exactly when they see VP decide to make a change, they know exactly what they want to go to in terms of
Pistola hung around with 100 charge at the end of that fight, which is a dead giveaway that he's trying to reset. Otherwise, he'd run away and try and keep it. So the Malga now. Obviously no Venture in this setup here, but it still does all the things that Malga is very good at. There's still a link up with Kevster and a potential blade. It'll take a minute here for Pistola to be healed up, even with the extra healing from direct grenade hits, so it'll take the BAP a while. And Kevster's forced off that angle. Very elegant solution here to a lurking Genji. He's forced off the point. Pistola charging through, but it's a disengage. Look at the damage he's taken from Shockwave. He's so susceptible to that. Deadeye hit will slow down VP, but they are still in control of the point. This is ENCE who have to get in there and take this away, and Virtus.Pro just can't be healthy enough for long enough. Yeah. Not against an air matrix.
Yeah, I love the way that VP played that, right? They kind of like back up, they use the Bob to contest the point, and then Virtus.Pro was off in that side room just trying to apply pressure, and they just ran him down, right? They took the Ramatra and the May in there, and there's no way that you're going to be able to heal that range from Canale, so could be the round win here for VP. We do have a blade from Kevster, sound barrier as well. Good May wall. That's really going to break up this push here from ENCE. Virtus.Pro had a barrier of their own. Blade comes in a little bit latently, and Kevster might have been slowed up briefly, but Sorta was able to pick him off the old-fashioned way. Virtus.Pro here being desuited now, and ENCE, their Zarya comp at times looked quite effective, but they ran out of gas midway through the round, and that was the first blade for Kev. Absolutely blunted. Yeah, holding on that blade for a while to get a good use out of it. And no, the sound barriers come out from both sides, things that maybe be able to get a good use as the sound barrier is wearing off. But a nice blizzard there from Sana, just kind of thrown right at his Baptiste. So allows them to win the round is VP showing some adjustments here early on. ENCE, see what they decide to do. So it'll be a Sigma look here for VP potentially off the rip. I think the safest play is probably now have Kevster play, you know, maybe what, Tracer, right? And then you're going to get a TP out of the spawn, play the Tracer, and then go to this look.
The Sigma composition caused ENCE some serious problems in that last round. They tried a couple of different looks against it. First the Zarya. Then, of course, we saw that late switch over to Malga. That didn't work at all. And then they tried the D.Va. We didn't really get enough time to see if it played out properly, so now we will. ENCE are going to be in a Brig setup here as well.
Yeah, we've talked ad nauseum about the Ana Brig and how good it can be as a combo. So, especially with no D.Va on the other side, look to see if Sky can land some pretty sick bio nades, right? No way for, I mean, Rajaro could kind of like eat it up, but still, it's not as easy as you see. He gets hit by one right away.
No follow-up there from it. And still playing very much a neutral poke-style game. They've got Kai on the Ashe this time around, trying to match the impact that Shockwave has had, which was immense in that previous round, not to mention when that air matrix was in play. Kai here a little more passive because he has to deal with the Sigma shield that gives a leg up to Shockwave. And right there, Kai dragged down as he tried to gain some air. It's a risky proposition to pop yourself up against a competent Ashe like that, and he was accordingly punished.
Yeah, maybe trying to find an angle on the Shockwave there. Also just getting pestered by Sana. But, you know, for Kai does end up having the brick, right? So can kind of stay around with that Tracer a little bit longer. But Rajaro pushes up. They take out Kellex. So kill off of the spawn. Sana will be back in the fight pretty quickly, though, on the Tracer. But it'll definitely force VP to back up.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the weaknesses of an OWCS composition. Those long staggers at the end of the fight. There was nowhere that Kellex could have gone. Sky, though, obviously going to have a nano on account of the fact that Virtus.Pro has been getting whacked constantly. But can Kai get that edge he's looking for against Shockwave? ENCE need to see him come alive here. Nano here for Virtus.Pro. This is a scary prospect as always. Shockwave found instantly, but an immortality field. Now he can dance within that. Virtus.Pro has to stagger out his approach and, in fact, pull off entirely. But Canale, having already used the immortality field to keep the Ashe alive, will fall to the pulse bomb. And now ENCE get that cleanup.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like VP did almost as good as you can do in that type of situation, right? It's a nano D.Va, it's a bio grenade onto your tank, and Canale keeps everybody topped up with that, you know, immortality field, then kind of healing after, but Kevster just goes crazy, picks up two, then the kind of the flood kind of comes in from ENCE, but VP putting up a much better fight already than we saw in their first series, right? I mean, that one was a drubbing, already looking much better.
And they managed to make up most of the deficit already. Sorta's pulse though, perfect. Stick on the Ashe. Can't argue with that. No immortality available for ENCE, so that was always going to be an elimination. Virtus.Pro has a self-destruct here, but he needs to be careful on the way down. Okay, yeah, gets taken down by Gala. Good damage by Sorta there to know that would deny another remake opportunity, so Virtus.Pro's ultimate is basically useless.
So it'll be VP getting a flip, so you know, I mean, look, Virtus.Pro trying to get a remake, right? Just kind of stall that out a little longer. Probably would have got up to, like, you know, close to like 65% probably on that point. So not going to be like a major difference. I think this is a huge fight though for ENCE, right? You have this rally, you have the Bob able to use. And how do you get good value out of these key ultimates?
Kai here punishing Canal for a brief pop-up with those Exo boots. Nothing to write home about now as Bob will be thrown towards the point, designed to pressure Rajaro's position, and he has to respect it to some degree, but on Ant Matrix it means that Virtus.Pro still want to fight. They don't want to allow this to flip for free. Kevster can pop him from behind. It's not a stick for the pulse. And Immortality Field still got drawn out of Canal. Can Vistola get in there and make something happen now with the lack of that ability? Flux here for Rajaro, mostly for mobility, if I'm honest with you, and he gets ruined as he drops down. Kellex gets that rally in play.
And the rally is just so impactful to last for so long, and able to just kind of follow it up as Rajar not able to live. But it will be VP getting a contest here, so they do put themselves in like a one-fight situation, right? They just don't really have much of anything to work with. It feels like you got to take like a junk fight here. Get maybe that nano out from the side of ENCE, see if you can build up potentially towards that Ant Matrix and a Bob, and then come back with a final fight.
Pulse up for Sauna, but we do have the Nano Diva prospect lingering here for ENCE. It was deadly effective last time, but it required a pulse bomb to really achieve its aims. Sauna has one of those. Kellex going to be kept alive. That was a Nano that had to go to the brig. I don't know if ENCE were in a position to actually make any further use of that outside of survivability. Rajaro is holding his ground here in his side room.
Yeah, but still, it feels pretty good, though, for VP, right? You get that nano out. They don't have it on Vistola there. Vistola have to use a self-destruct to get a new mech back.
That's fine, but again, this is ENCE playing defensively. They're buying that time. Now, though, Virtus.Pro have to come forward and make a fight of it, and Kevster finds a pulse bomb he was looking for. Oh, ENCE hit the jackpot in this last fight. A struggle of a round in general. But they come up with the goods when it matters. It was a Nano had to be thrown onto their brig, a self-destruct used prematurely. But it's all good, as they say, because Kevster, your boy, comes up with the goods, and ENCE take away a hard-fought first map.
Yeah, much more competitive than really a lot of the first series we saw between these two teams, but still the same result where ENCE comes out on top. It was pretty big, though, I thought, from Sonalight to land that pulse bomb, get the nano out. They get the D-mech there on the Vistola. He has to remech, but just no answer for Kevster, man. I mean, just too sick there towards the end.
And something that we never really would have discussed if, like, Space Station were involved in this game, or Twisted Minds, is that the Sigma composition for VP actually looks really good. Often when we talk about them, we've talked about Rajaro's Diva or Rajaro's Ramatra, for example, but this setup looks like it's a little tough for Diva to deal with at times, especially without Nano Boost. But let's go back to the beginning. Obviously, Volcano here, another good start for VP. They overextend, though, in that first round as they're trying to fight with an Ant Matrix. Price themselves and throw themselves essentially into the belly of the beast, and then a big recovery, for ENCE, of course, with Vistola and this Diva composition in general, causing some headaches.
Yeah, it just felt like with the way that VP was in that one fight, right, where they end up using the Ant Matrix, they try and push in and deal with Kellex, that they were very much all in that fight. So that's why they end up deciding to push up. Definitely didn't pay off. Potentially, round one goes a little bit different otherwise, but round two for VP, they looked quite good. It was an interesting comp from ENCE at the start that gave them some trouble, but they figured it out.
Yeah, we don't know about the sort of Xayah Genji setup. It eventually fell a little flat. And then this round, a tough start, I think, for ENCE. They really had to fight back early. That pulse bomb there for Kevster, though, quite often the whole reason they're winning these fights, right? Think back to their first fight. There was a Nano Diva, but Vistola got shut down by an Immortality Field. It had to be a Kevster pulse bomb. Same with this fight. Vistola, they have to use a Nano early onto a brig. Then Vistola gets desuited. It's a Kevster pulse bomb that saves the day. The guy is taken over the map.
Yeah, I mean, he's fantastic. I mean, he's been now for like 4 or 5 years one of the best players in the world, right? I mean, just so consistent, can play just about everything. I mean, he kind of like changed the game in terms of the damage dealers. It feels like being able to play just about everything across the board. So in the last series when these two teams played, it was Shambali Monastery and King's Row were the picks from Virtus.Pro. Like Johnny mentioned on the desk, they did not get they didn't get ejected on either of those.
So can VP force a rush map? Is that their plan here?
Yeah. Do you want to see what you look like on a flashpoint or a push? Do you want to say, hey, maybe we just played those maps poorly and we want to go back to them? Okay, so they will see what they see they look like on a flashpoint. So we'll see Suravasi.
Pretty rare to see a flashpoint map picked up so early in the series. That, of course, leaves Escort Hybrid, still available sort of after this fact. Of course, this is a best of 7, so a first to 4 series here. Obviously, more opportunities for ENCE, Well, VP, in this situation at least, to look to find a map that suits them a little bit more. But, I mean, what should we...
More opportunities for ENCE to win maps.
Exactly. I mean, we harp a lot on the loser's pick as a more recent addition to the Overwatch ecosystem here. Can you play like a Lucio Baptiste, a Sigma composition? Do you feel like that can, you know, we've seen teams, you know, trend in that direction in the past. Are you still trying to force a Sigma versus D.Va composition matchup? Because, look, outside of Kevster's pulse bombs, right, that still looked like a pretty good look up against what we know ENCE can do.
I think the D.Va's pretty good on Suravasa, like, and being able to kind of control some of the space. There's like a lot of like high ground, different areas there on Suravasa. So I potentially think you're going to see some D.Va play here from both of these teams. I think D.Va could be pretty strong in these types of situations. And with loser pick, I think in this type of scenario, it's not like a EWC, right, where you had like the bans and the loser pick. Like there was a huge way you can kind of swing it in your team's favor. I mean, if you're VP, what do you want to do? You don't want to play Shambali or King's Row again, right? So you're kind of down to the maps, the modes with the least amount of maps to kind of pick from. So if you feel like Suravasa is like way better than New Jung City, like you don't want to play like Ramatra or even Maga type of style on a New Jung City, you play this map.
Tickets, of course, for DreamHack Stockholm are now available, guys. That's right. That's what we are playing for, essentially. The circuit points, of course, the prize money, but the circuit points that would get you able to compete at our last big event of the year. It's going to be an absolute banger here, and a win in Stage 3 is definitely going to put you very much in the running for that. For Virtus.Pro, they started this stage pretty low down on the circuit points leaderboard in general. We knew they'd make a run towards the top. We knew they looked incredible coming out of Riyadh, but some work still has to be done for them. The engine room is well and truly running, folks. But if...
Yeah, I mean, top 4 in EMEA is going to be tight, right?
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
You know, between... I mean, that's like so scary, especially for like a space station. Like, obviously, they're probably sitting pretty in terms of points, right? But in terms of seeding and whatnot, no, the Twisted Minds right there.
SSG, yeah, winning stage 2 is obviously like a huge benefit for them. It's actually like ENCE, like I said, have not won a stage, so they've not really been able to scoop up those max circuit points, because in stage 1 it was Twisted Minds that have done that. So even ENCE, a powerhouse like them, really do need this win to really solidify their claim for a spot in Stockholm.
Yes, we'll see. VP, they'll actually play the Sigma at the start. I think this D.Va conference could be pretty difficult to deal with, right? With, Kevster on the Echo kind of controlling some of that high ground, especially the D.Va there as well. The possibilities for nano targets, right? The D.Va or the Echo, really good nano target.
So it is the Sigma comp that gets run out here by Virtus.Pro. With that Baptiste, of course, because there's no Farah to worry about. And the May pick here. Hard to see how it interacts too heavily with ENCE's setup, given that they have like the mobility of Kevster alongside Vistola.
Yeah, it doesn't that often, but I mean, I guess you could block off some of the sightlines for the Ana, right? Like you see where Sky is playing from there, you block that off, that denies some of the healing. It doesn't exactly kind of split off the players, right?
But well, though, yeah, pretty good. It actually cuts Shockwave, or rather, it cuts Kai's sightline off. That's obviously important to deal with that potential poke. Ever-present threat that it is. They might have corralled Vistola here as an individual who doesn't have a rocket booster cooldown right now to get back to the point, but we've seen ENCE outmaneuver Virtus.Pro, able to get all of their pieces onto the board. Force Virtus.Pro to play from the outside now.
Yeah, and we'll see how VP goes about attacking the point. There's a few players definitely low for ENCE. You do have the nano boost available. This will be the Ant Matrix from Canale, so trying to buy some space, but look at how difficult it's going to be to deal with Vistola. He has the benefits of the nano. It's going to be Gala with a sound barrier to respond.
Yeah, timely sound barrier indeed, but they still need to do more to help Shockwave, I think. Gala's tried to drop down to that effect. Canale is going to be the one that actually serves himself up in the end. To Virtus.Pro, it's the mobility of ENCE that's punishing them. Going for their backline. Canale is the most important player in this map, in that he'll be looked at most frequently by ENCE as that priority target.
I mean, it's so difficult to deal with Vistola when he's got the benefits of the nano, as they try the sound barrier, still doesn't even keep them alive long enough to put down enough damage to take out that D.Va. But it was VP in control of the point there for a while, right? So they do get a little bit of a lead. It'll be overtaken here by ENCE. ENCE will end up having a Bob plus Beat here, though. This could be quite good. And I also, like, how are you going to end up using this Blizzard, right? With the Blizzard here from Sauna, not exactly like you can close this gap and get in a great spot to do it. Oh, and you lost Sauna.
Again, the Baptiste, the most important player here for Virtus.Pro, the centerpiece. The one that really holds their plan together. It's also the one with some of the least mobility on their roster. Caught out again, and that is ENCE guaranteeing that flashpoint.
You also don't even have to use sound barrier for ENCE, right? So you end up winning now. You hold on to that big key support ultimate. You kind of like doubled up in terms of progress here on Gala. I'm so curious how you get value out of this Blizzard. I mean, it's very difficult for them to even kind of get close to that point, right? They're gonna have to speed boost on in. You know, maybe you're trying to use it defensively, but with Kai Sky playing such a far distance, okay, so they get the accretion on Vistola, then they use it.
I mean, you were living dangerously though. Vistola pops that DM basically straight after. However, the Blizzard does connect.
Oh, this is
Kev's found 2 here. A focusing beam. Okay, that's a fortunate accretion timing, but they're not out of the woods yet. Rojaro's so low. Sticky Bombs, he's going to dance that shield, and he just pokes through it enough for Kevs to find the kill. And guess what? We're duping the May, fam.
I was a bit worried there when like ENCE decided to nano Kevster. I was like, there's no way this pays off, right? Especially after losing 2 players. But yeah, I mean, he's just too good, man. But I mean, they don't really have anything to deal with him, right? No, now Sona goes over to the Tracer. I like this way better from VP. So look, so this is stickies, shots.
That's wild.
He ends up with 4 in the fight. I mean, that's nuts.
VP come back in though behind that amp matrix. ENCE didn't really have anything to answer it with, so pretty quick flip back, all things considered. And now look at Riddick Flux available, and bear in mind, ENCE do not have a beat or an immortality field to answer that Sigma ultimate.
Yeah, I wonder if this is the end for the Echo as well. Like if you decide to potentially play Tracer here for ENCE, maybe another fight as Kevster doesn't fall, makes it back to the spawn, right? So
Pickaxe's shoulder, we're off to work. Virtus.Pro in the lead here on this second flashpoint. Sitting on a Sigma ult. A free mech, remech rather, for Vistola there. Where does this end up going? Nobody caught inside of it. Nice coach gun out there by Kai, and Bob gets thrown to the point. Focusing beam. Accounts for Rojaro, lancing off his limbs. And ENCE get to break in and now build those support ults, which you see Sky is going to have that nano up. And again, the plan of sending Vistola in as the blunt object is online.
Well, they end up losing Sona early on, but when Rojaro goes to end up using the Gravitic Flux, they kind of throw the Bob directly underneath, and he's taking so much damage from a Dynamite and the Bob that I think he just decides to pop it and get away just to live, right? I don't think he would have been able to kind of surge for more in terms of getting value out of that Gravitic Flux in that type of situation. Probably would have died before even getting the ultimate off. So try to see if he can catch Sky, doesn't connect with him, and now ENCE in a perfect position to take the second flashpoint.
Kyle a little bit low here, Shockwave really giving an account of himself here. Up comes Vistola, and now he gets that nano. Immortality field already used, already popped. Oh, to the low ground goes Gala. That Immortality field was still up for that moment. Eventually it expires. Astas Rojaro facing the focusing beam again. It's another flashpoint for ENCE. They didn't have to use them. Oh man, there was so much they were able to hold on to in that fight.
I don't know what you do when this D.Va gets nanoed. Like in Axis is your backline. It just seems like the amount of damage that the D.Va can put down, plus survivability with, you know, how much armor the D.Va has, and then defense matrix. You can't really kite it. I mean, how far back can you go? I just don't know what you actually do. It seems like such a great win condition in a lot of fights here for ENCE. As Kevster on the side, that's going to be the immortality field gone already.
I feel like this comp for Virtus.Pro can sacrifice the backline there a little bit against the D.Va. They got no choice. Shockwave's down. Calyx died with beats, by the way. Gala has a chance to use that. He's actually stunned up briefly. He'll have to hold it. I don't know if there's any reason to make use of it here. Rough stuff. ENCE going to start in the lead on this flashpoint. Something we've seen less on this map.
Yeah, it's a nice dupe there from Kevster, so gets really nice value out of the ultimate of the Echo. So Canale will go back to the Baptiste. But this is what I was talking about, where I think the D.Va's really good on this map, right? You can kind of control some of this high ground there with Kai and Kevster. Just rain down shots onto the Sigma as you're trying to speed boost your Sigma around every which direction, trying to get him close to the point.
Running it back to Virtus.Pro with the beat that Gala held on to. Zombie barrier already removed here, so Rajaro already into rotating those defensive cooldowns. There's Big Bad Bob, steps up, Gala tries to buy a bit of space with a boot, but all of VP are going to have to concede this real estate. Pistola can play from this really annoying spot on top of this building.
Yeah.
It's a bomb from VP though, Matt.
Yeah, the Bob will end up going to the point. That's going to be the immortality field already, and then it's going to be Pistola not actually going with the self-destruct, so they'll actually, because both supports are dead, they'll give it up. You also got 70% on the point. That's the sound barrier there from Gala, so you feel like you kind of got a lot there if you are ENCE, right? You can come back, you held on your own sound barrier, most likely to deal with this gravitic flux, and then you have this nano again for Pistola. It's been, you know, it's just like an auto fight win in a lot of scenarios.
It's hard not to feel like the old economy for ENCE has been top tier this game. Holding some of those, I mean, we haven't seen too many like haphazard ultimates thrown out at all. Kellex definitely, like you said, seems to be saving the beat in lieu of a Baptiste to answer the flux. Rajaro's been having trouble landing them sometimes against this composition. Here it comes. Do we get the beat? Yes, Kellex throws it out. Sky has got a big caught in it, and it's an easy kill for Pistola. Shockwave is down, but Sky, caught in the flux, even with a beat, eventually goes down. I like this coverage here for Kellex for Pistola. That is beautiful. Crazy. But you're asking a little bit too much of your diva there. In a fight that's already broken down and your main healer is dead, tough to come back from. Virtus.Pro might have themselves a flashpoint here, Matt. Oh, cheeky. Wait a minute. Pistola, okay, having a remake. The fight is still on. Charging towards Rajaro, who's very, very low, and only Gala's going to be there to keep him healed up. Kinetic Grass, though, does a lot of heavy lifting, and now Kempster gets involved. Focusing beam claims Rajaro. I cannot believe this. Again, it's ENCE starting to break back in with two players. Pistola gave his mech to keep Kellex alive for so long. Another reinforcements arrived. Virtus.Pro are in deep trouble here. And now it's going to be a dupe of the Tracer by Kempster, because why not go back to your roots? You've basically taken every other liberty possible in this game. And Virtus.Pro gets sat down in the harshest way possible. A brutal 3-0. I'm whipping my mic cord around because I'm just freaking out. That should not have happened.
Dude. They were so greedy there, going for that kill onto Pistola, and then just getting the kill on the Tracer with the self-destruct. You got hey, Kai was there alive with Pistola as well, but then you had Kempster come on back in. And what's crazy is they were able. VP was able. VP was able to survive the sound barrier and the nano onto the diva. Right? They get the kill on the Sky. They're looking like they're good. That's going to be the one fight. They're talking about how the nano and the diva has resulted in fight wins constantly. They live through that, and then they just kind of beef it at the end. I mean, that's just a brutal 3-0.
They're playing. Look, VP are playing well. But if you make a single mistake against this ENCE team, you're going to lose. It only happened once or twice. I mean, you cannot be. I understand they really wanted to try and get rid of the baby diva in that last fight, right? I get it. But dying to the remake is so devastating. And then Kempster comes back in with a focusing beam against Rajaro, who's already low on health.
The second checkpoint, they get off to a great start, and then what? The nano onto Kempster, he kills 4 players.
Yes, they're in a losing fight. Here we see that immortality field in play. Gala drops down. I get it, fair enough, but it just seems like when Pistola turns up on his backline with a nano boost, there was no answer, because there was no Brig Ana comp. You cannot just whip shot the diva, make a little bit of space, throw rally down, stun shield bash the diva. You just have to take your licks.
Yeah, and it's got to be so frustrating for VP, because they got to feel like they play good enough to win in certain situations. So here this is at the end. So it's a stick, and then I believe Sauna's going for the melee here and ends up just dying to the self-destruct.
I mean, it's such a mess. The backline of Virtus.Pro, they're not playing. There's nothing wrong with the comp. It's not offensive, right? But it doesn't have any crowd control. It doesn't have anything to stop a diva. It doesn't have anything to save you if you get Nano Diva walking up on you. And I'm not saying they need to play Brig Ana necessarily, right? But they don't have an answer to that. They can run, but they can't even run. They have to stay under the immortality field. So they can't go anywhere.
I don't know if this could be accurate, but 3K healing would be, you know, that's like you.
What do I mean?
Like a you in like a 10-minute game.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
a little more context than that. In a more reasonable context, it's like 10 heroes, right? It's 10 lives worth of heroes. So look, I do think like a 10% healing difference is a huge difference maker over Flashpoint that can go quite long. Yeah, okay. Here's your map pool. Hybrid push and escort available here now for Virtus.Pro.
ENCE is like, hey, you just keep selecting them. You keep serving them up. Shambali and King's Row, what they did last time, do you go to a push? Do you want to play Risapi? I don't know. I mean, you look at like escort, right?
Circuit. Yeah, I mean, you are going to force to try and find the best map possible for this Sigma comp, I think. And try and make it work.
Yeah, that seems to be kind of what they want to try and force, right? Just play Sigma on throughout. So see if they can make the Sigma work here potentially on circuit. It feels like you desperately need a win, right? That like you go down 0-3. Don't know if you're going to kind of see a reverse sweep in that type of scenario. It feels like it would just be the beginning of the end there, where ENCE could just kind of take control of the series and end
there's something about some of these maps that almost feels deterministic. You're watching, you're midway through, you know, Suravasa, and you're like, I think ENCE is still going to win this map. And they've done so doing some pretty unlikely things, winning fights that statistically they're not favored to win, right? Fights in which they lose a player early, 2 players early sometimes. Kev gets nattered and comes and kills 4 people. These are things that you can't account for, and yet ENCE are delivering them with consistency.
We've seen 5 maps between these two teams, and VP's gotten one objective.
One objective,
which was the point on King's on Samoa at the start, because Lijiang Tower in the last series was a 2-0. They get full held on both of those maps. They get shut out on Flashpoint. So it's not been a great matchup for VP with the way things have gone thus far. So we'll see if they can kind of break through playing this potential Sigma setup. This is an interesting look here from ENCE. We've seen teams, a lot of teams do this, whether it be with Illari or the Zen. They'll go with the Zen here on defense. The Discord Orb should be pretty
Gala,
powerful there, putting more pressure on the
break, bro.
Rajara.
come on, bro.
This would be an interesting time to pull it out.
Yeah, so we've seen this. The Sky Reaper Zenyatta. Seen it on this map before. Very good against those slower comps. A Brig Baptiste backline would be, yeah, interesting. I mean, obviously, okay. Classic Virtus.Pro. So it will be the Iliari Baptiste setup that we've seen before. Obviously, those healing pylon spots are pretty good on offense, way better on defense, in fairness, but Shockwave is going to go toe-to-toe with your boy, Kovacs Kai.
There is a little bit of better healing here for Kepster in terms of like being able to kind of keep the orb on him, and Shockwave is totally fine taking that battle, as that's going to be Kai with a headshot there from Shockwave, exiting back to spawn rather quickly.
Now this map asks a lot from your Widow players. It asks a lot from Kai. He has to come from more obvious angles to try and fight Shockwave. He has to win some unlikely scenarios. He also has to worry about Farah poking him down at range. So few things that, you know, he has to contend with here. It's obviously in a pretty unique comp for this map, right? The Baptiste and the Zenyatta. Kyle will be back in just a moment now, assuming a very safe sight line to begin with, but you notice him start to inch closer to that left side.
He has a nice conk, just knocks him out of the way. Sure, that is filthy there. Nothing you could do.
Getting gap so far. Beautiful grapple up from Shockwave. And yeah, I think Kai eats a concussive blast that knocks him aside. Great start for Virtus.Pro. You can't ask for much more than that, but you can see just how much hinges on this Widow setup, the picks that Shockwave has been delivering.
Yes, Kepster now going to move away from the far and go over to Hanzo. So obviously a little bit easier to kind of circumvent Shockwave. Not going to be just kind of like in the sky, flying all around. And it's going to give a little bit more shield pressure, where I think the Illari definitely does provide a little bit more damage, I think, than necessarily like a Zen, where it's going to be the captive son. They do get the Zenyatta.
Gala wanted to get to the high ground there with that outburst. Still able to turn it into a kill on Sky Reaper though, so they're not complaining. And there's no reason for Pistola not to be able to have priority in the Sigma matchup with a Hanzo and Zen on his team. Still, it's going horribly wrong for ENCE. It's hard to see that they've even gotten a kill over the course of this map. Carts moving towards that second checkpoint.
Shockwave is literally sitting on the payload as it's just being escorted on through, which, I mean, this second checkpoint is as dominant as you will see. So it looks like that VP going to get very close to taking the checkpoint before ENCE even makes that a spawn.
I mean, who's going to touch Kepster maybe? Goes forward. He gets taken down by Gala, so never even got to the cart to contest it. Oh my word, this is absolutely brutal. Hello, ENCE?
They Transcendence maybe to try and see if they can get to the cart, but it doesn't make it.
Okay. What a bizarre map we've seen so far. Virtus.Pro pushed so deep here into the hotel that ENCE just did not have a chance to get out to contest. That card was uncontested through the second phase of the map. Literally uncontested.
Okay, so here could be a potential positive for ENCE in that the Widow's a little bit harder to make impactful here on offense towards the end of the map, but that's about it. I mean, this has been all Virtus.Pro.
Flux here. Immortality field, the prescribed response. It comes out, and still Rajari's able to bowl Vistola over with that accretion. Galax has to back away, but who should die to the hyperspheres on that corner? Rajari doesn't quite get the bounce. Frustrating for the Sigma. Still wants to hang around, though. Kevster not doing too much to dissuade him from looking to kill Galax.
This has been an absolute speed run and clinic here by VP. I think the damage has been too much for ENCE to deal with, and Shockwave's Widow just finding a kill feels like every single time. Allows that Sigma to cross. Maybe thought the shield wouldn't come up, so could have had a shot on potentially somebody falling around the corner. As shots on to Vistola. Vistola gets quite low. Looks like he's going to make it back out to the choke.
These maps happen once in a while for ENCE, where Kai's just not there. He's just not present. And frankly, he's not done anything wrong. He just got shot in the head twice by Shockwave, and then it snowballed completely out of his control. Well, make it 3. I'm counting. I mean, I have enough fingers for that.
What do you do there? I mean,
not a whole lot. Yeah, not a whole lot. It's going to be a Dragon Blade here, sort of caught by... Oh, okay. Just pack it up at this point. Solar Force back there. Obviously, the interruption in midair, as we saw Kevster attempt to close the gap with the blade. Stunned up midway through, take it down. And Vistola getting absolutely mauled. That's 4-0.
Shot on the guy there.
That's 4-0 in the Widow battle.
Just for good measure.
Yep. Okay, I think ENCE is trying to shake this one off and treat it like a bad dream or something that's the product of intrusive thoughts or substance abuse. Shockwave eventually falls to Kevster, but 3:20 on the clock.
3:20. I mean, that is an eternity here on circuit. So VP looked like no signs of life, limited signs of life in the first 2 maps. Come up massive here at the start of circuit, where it seems like obviously playing the Widow definitely pays off for VP, and then also the Sigma making great use of that here. It seems like that's the direction they want to go within this matchup.
Well, Matt, they've certainly figured out how to take objectives, at least. Virtus.Pro now looking like a completely different team on Circuit Royal. And these Widowmaker comps are volatile, extremely volatile. The way that you can snowball, a kill of your Widow onto the opposing Widow, turn that into an extreme amount of pressure. So much so that end up switching to a Hanzo just to stop Rajaro from walking up for free.
Yeah, just for like a little bit, and then they went straight over to the Genji, trying to put even some pressure onto Shockwave. Just didn't get anything to deter him at all. And then I also think that the backline definitely ends up working out with the BAP and the Illari. I think Illari, like if there was one map, I think this is probably like her, not in the pool, but Midtown, this map, probably the 2 best maps for Illari in terms of like the sight lines, and then being able to get good value out of the pile.
Yeah, it's also much harder to punish a greedy backline on circuit. Like you have to generally like shoot them with your Widow. You cannot get a Tracer up there with any degree of ease. In Midtown, very similar, in a very similar vein. So, Virtus.Pro going defense now. And it's fun to be here with a defensive Pharah, and also, Illari, whose pylons are pretty hard to remove if you don't have anyone that can sneak in. And a Tracer is not looking at a healing pylon if she somehow has been able to get into the back line.
No, and it looks like they will play the double sniper. So Kevster on the Hanzo, just putting even more shield pressure there onto Rajaro, trying to give themselves a little bit of an advantage. But man, Shockwave cannot miss this map.
What is that? Shockwave is disgusting, man.
So silly. I mean, what do you do?
Wait, all these kills are grapple shots as well. Kai has a split second to realize that a Widow's popping up, so then he has to scope in, charge up, and fire. He doesn't have an opportunity to beat like Shockwave. He has to to opt out of that fight. He can't just stand still.
No, I mean it's rare you get like a gap type of scenario with against Kai, where Kai is so good on the hit scan. But this one, I mean, this has been all Shockwave. I mean, some of the shots that he's hit, like, it's not like he's hitting easy shots. I mean, it feels like every single shot is like a circus trick shot.
the amount he has to do, and still makes it look easy. Rajaro's going to be forced back into the corner, and yet never really has a shield active. So Vistola has to take liberties here. Kai gets on the board. Gala is down, and so is Rajaro fallen. So ENCE finally start to develop a little bit of traction here. Still a few, 3 players here for Virtus.Pro able to try and hold, and Shockwave, of course. This angle is, yeah. See this one in range, you have no idea where you get killed from. A little bit hard to make it work consistently, though.
Yeah, they got to be in the perfect spot, right, on the opposite side of things to be able to land those shots. A shot in the Kepster almost killed him. Be in for sight here. So you're going to have everybody wait probably on ENCE. Actually, ENCE decides to use their Amp Matrix here to go a little bit.
Rajaro able to dodge that accretion. Kai, yep, Gala's able to get that solo kill. Pops in and the Immortality Field is down. Captive Sun on that exact corner. Gala has gotten multiple attachments with that ability. Saw it against Space Station too.
Yeah, it feels like the Captive Sun obviously a little bit more use. Well, has better options of use than like what for Transcendence, right? You're really just you're looking at like their Flux, right? That's kind of really your only option to use Transcendence, where that Captive Sun you can use a little bit more proactively. You can use it defensively, right? If they want to like, for instance, right there, right? You use an Amp Matrix push around the corner. A little bit more options.
This map's so cursed for ENCE. They have everything, sure. By the way, Transcendence doesn't do anything about Shockwave. He will still shoot you in the head. We do have at least an Immortality Field that has to be used here. Vistola draws that out, but there's Sky going down. Pretty vulnerable to that consistent poke, and Rajaro winds one up now. Here comes a Flux for Virtus.Pro. Straight on into the Immortality Field with an accretion out in front. Rajaro wants to take liberties, and ENCE have no choice but to let him. An absolute wash has Circuit Royale been, and Vistola will be staggered to the 11th hour.
Man, this has been brutal here. So VP has looked fantastic playing the Widow with that Sigma here. The Alari backline as well. So it's going to have Kepster going over, playing Genji here. So they're going to move away from the BAP as well, play Ana. Trying to make a play here just at the end to get this first checkpoint.
Infraside here for Kai, but sometimes all the information in the world isn't going to help you execute.
There is no time. We attack now.
7 seconds to work with now. Kepster peering over the edge of this bridge. It's time for ENCE to make a play to keep them in the map. Healing Pylon doing some heavy lifting there as well. Another Captive Sun from Gala. And straight to the skies as Kepster go. He doesn't want a bar of it, but Kai has no choice. Not the Solarium he had booked for today. And then Immortality Field is just meaning that Virtus.Pro chills. Absolutely been chilling. And finally, they've been able to fight their way back into a Series 1, in which looked like it was far beyond winning. Now at least they've established a foothold.
Yeah, it was an absolutely must-win map for VP, and they came out and dominated ENCE. I mean, that was not close. And the opposing Widow is just sitting on the cart emoted, running through the entire second stage of the map. You know how big of a blowout it is. As ENCE, I mean, I don't know what you can kind of just throw that one away, right? I mean, there's nothing you can really even take from that. I mean, Shockwave just hitting insane shots there on the Widow, and then I probably got on the worst end in terms of comp, right? In terms of what you ran versus what they kind of pulled out. So I think if you're ENCE, you got to throw that one away. But VP, I mean, that's a huge confidence boost for them.
Hugely so. For Shockwave, I don't think there was any instance in which Kai was actually able to get a kill on that Widow. It was one of the most dominant showings from an individual Widow we've seen in quite a while, and it's just what VP needed as a bit of a pick-me-up. We're going to throw to the desk now to break down these first 3 maps of the series. 2 of them so ENCE-sided, but finally VP show us something.
They do indeed. I mean, looking at the first 2 maps, the big question is like, okay, we see VP running those Sigma, Lucio comes. Didn't quite work for them. Obviously on Sigma headquarters on Circuit Royale, that was a good look for them. I also just have to go off on what Mitch just touched on. Shockwave on that Widow, holy, against Kai, nonetheless.
I mean, that guy, he was just refusing to lose. That was their map. If Shockwave's going to drop a performance like that, you will get a map win in this series. The trouble is, though, Circuit, arguably the most unique, different map in the pool. The question is, can you repeat that performance on, we've got, hybrid and push left to pick before the map pool resets, of course, after map 5. You know, I'm worried though, to be honest. The Lucio Diva style, or just in general these Diva styles from Vistola, he is just farming on any of these maps with more flanks, more openness, opportunities to get to the back line. Vistola and Kevster are seizing them, and there hasn't really been an answer to that part of the style. Yes, you can win a Sigma Mirror when your Widow just goes Super Saiyan and takes over the game, but that's not gonna win you the series. That's gonna win you a map, maybe another, maybe there's, you know, we could come to a Dorado or something later on if you can get a map pool reset, but that's a long way away for Virtus.Pro. They're going to need to find an answer to Vistola's Diva.
Yeah, it deserves to be said that they did look good on Control, though, and they were a fight away from winning Control. So the fact they come into this series and they played the Lucio BAP with the Sigma instead, it gives them a look that, you know, looked better than it did in the upper bracket finals when they just got full health twice in a row, right? So I think, you know, if you're looking for like the path forward for Virtus.Pro, like how do you come back in this series, you got to hold on for that map reset, right? After map 5, the map pool resets and all the modes will open up again. So you obviously have to win one of the next 2 to even make that happen, right? But if you can win the next map, and then, you know, if you do happen to take a loss in the 5th map, that allows you to pick like a control map or something like that, that once again could give you a good opportunity on Lucio BAP. So I know I'm kind of like overcooking it and like thinking way too far in the future here, but that would be kind of like the path forward for Virtus.Pro, finding good maps for this Sigma to work out, and maybe for that Sigma Lucio BAP to work a little bit better than it did on Cervasa, which is way more open than, say, like Samoa.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate thing with that plan is that the next map pick will be ENCE, and I'm pretty sure they know at this point that the Sigma is most likely the comp they're going to see. They're happy to play their Diva, right? Because when they faced off against Virtus.Pro previously in a Diva mirror, they had the upper hand. It wasn't even close. So VP, whilst they want to stay away from that, yeah, ENCE will not. So where do you take us if you're ENCE?
I mean, to be honest, I think there's not really a good Sigma map left in the pool. Hybrid and Push are just not really good Sigma game types. None of these maps are going to be good for them. So, yeah, Parisa is like about the worst, I think, for Sigma. You pretty much have to play tanks with some sort of vertical mobility here. So, I mean, Rizal, they've been relying on rush styles with the Ramatra. They've been playing the Sigma. Basically, I've never seen those work in a professional match on Paraiso. This is going to be Vistola really taking the game by storm. Probably going to play his Diva, could even bring out Winston. We see most teams play Winston here, but neither of these teams tend to want to bring it out. So,
and taking a look at the subs, Case is in
the
lineup. We're going to see some Winston being played here.
I mean, this is a very powerful move. I think Winston is super strong on this map, and Kevster, Chase, I think this is going to be really on a Winston and Kevster's flanker DPS of choice to run the map here on Paraiso.
We are, of course, playing in a grand final. That is a first to 4. So there's still some opportunities, of course, for VP to bring this one back. Let's find out how that will fare on our 3rd map. Cassis, please take it away. What map, actually?
Some wind in the sails, at least, for Virtus.Pro here. But there's always the question of, will Kevster just decide not to lose his map? Saw that over the first 2 in this series. And then, well, very different story on Circuit Royal if you're just joining us, in which Shockwave gave us quite a monumental gap on the Widowmaker performance. Now, of course, will be relegated to something more conventional like Ash. And yeah, Chase Torch comes in. Someone also, by the way, it was sort of, when Crimso was coaching this team, he sort of said, Chase is a ridiculous motivator for this team. Like, real high energy guy, really picks us up when we're down. So, you know, having the Winston option is great, but also having him lift the spirits, I think, of ENCE, just dropping a small map here. It was a pretty brutal one at that. Definitely goes a long way.
Yeah, and like the Des mentioned, this is a tremendous Winston map on offense in defense. So it'll be ENCE on offense here to kick things off. Just a shot from the Kevs won't result in anything.
One piece, love that.
Yes, he'll go Tracer. So it'll be a Winston versus Diva matchup. Also for VP, they'll actually go Kiriana here on defense.
Lucio less important, of course, on this stage. Compared to that verticality, of course, that Kiriko can offer. Canale, okay, that's a swift step out. A sheepish one at that. But Torna's able to reciprocate. Found Sky already. The Tracer going to work for Virtus.Pro. Shockwave will be chased down. Speaking of which, they've got to back up too. Take a little bit too much damage at close range there. And with a bio on Kai, Kellex are looking to try and keep him topped up here. ENCE have had to just fold back for a moment.
It's quite impressive though. They find the kill on Sky already with that Brig in the mix, right? So looks like that Sauna working with Canale on the outside here.
Early Suzu.
Looking to try and get away. But yeah, that's a Suzu pretty early.
Here comes the Winston dive now. Sky is a little caught, but this time Kelex is there. So there's another layer of protection for the Ana. Rajaro has to be careful here, diving in under the effects of the bio. Gonna be able to force ENCE back again. So another regroup for the attackers, but it's not for long. Chase quickly looks to try to shoot that low ground. And Canale, oh, sometimes a random kunai can just save the day. Now no Kai to work with.
Man, is Canale getting in and out of trouble rather quickly, right? This is kind of what we saw the other day, where able to go on a little bit of a flank, pick up a kill there with Sauna, and then get out with his life as they will lose Chase. So nothing really going on this early for ENCE. It's going to be the Kitsune rush here for VP. Is no, maybe you didn't even need it to pick up those final 2 kills there, but you back out, secure that fight, stop ENCE from just kind of making any type of headway.
Chase had already been eliminated. Here, you'll notice on the map, Kevster has got himself embedded behind enemy lines. Canale is aware of it. Maybe not knowing exactly where the Tracer might be lurking. He now looks like he has a bit more of a concrete idea as Kevster opts to reveal himself. Instant recall there. Looking just to tie to Kiriko up, but Canale can get back into the fight really easily. Kevster has to do a little more than this, but he's waiting on Chase's timing, I think.
Well, this is also dangerous for Kevster. He doesn't have recall, right? So that's to back up, get a health pack. Now can play a little bit more aggressive.
Got to do something here. Recalls away. Those kunai are so deadly. It's a 2 for 2 so far, but Bob helps out a lot. Shockwave caught in the line of sight. And I don't think Rajaro is getting back into this mech easily. We'll be forcing Chase away, though. There's already the cap underway. 1 tick now. Rajaro just wants to get out, but that will not be allowed.
Oh, nice D-Mech. For a second there, I thought they were going to allow Rajaro to live, which maybe they would have ended up using the Nano, as that's going to be the Bob there from Shockwave. Doesn't actually get on the point and touch. Actually, it looks like his foot maybe is on the point. Just ever so slightly, but this Primal from Chase looks like it's pretty impactful. Takes out Gala there.
Canale though waiting with a kunai. Kevster now, and Kelex having to fight with Sauna, who's going to get caught in the long range of Kai, so that Tracer has to fold away, get out. But good defense so far for VP with his D.Va composition. Only 48 seconds were on the clock once ENCE had capped.
Yeah, I mean, look, Winston's great on this map, but also D.Va's still pretty strong, even after some of these nerfs, right? Where the D.Va can definitely control some of that area. I also think with the way that they play the D.Va, and Canale just kind of like more like an offensive flanking manner with Sauna, it's definitely a little bit of an odd look.
Kai still surely reeling from that previous map. Definitely offering a degree of respect to Shockwave there. Even though on the Ash, still a deadly threat. And doesn't really want to give out that window position. Kev's already trying to dig Virtus.Pro out of this spot. Deny some of that easy poke. Now, some poke of his own on towards Shockwave. That's going to provoke the coach gun and disengagement from Virtus.Pro, who are giving up a pretty significant amount of ground here.
ENCE making some good progress though at the street though, right? And you think now they're going to build up towards this Nano and give it over to Chase and let him dive up onto the high ground. Take out some of these supports.
Big pulse kill. Sauna's been beautiful with those so far. Almost every one of them connecting this map.
Well, they were also playing for the Nano, right? That I was talking about onto Chase and then sending him up to the high ground. So once he falls, Sky, you don't have that option anymore, right? So everybody ends up falling here for ENCE. VP battling their way back into this series.
It's been such a good map
now for
Gala and Canale and Sauna on the map.
Yeah, I think that they've been the biggest differences here on this map, right? I would say definitely Shockwave on circuit, but on this map, Sauna and Canale both really kind of coming alive offensively for VPs. This is gonna take a while to develop for ENCE, right? You don't actually have that Lucio in the mix, and I think it's gonna be pretty telegraphed of what's going on. Nice bio there, it's both supports.
For it, Kitsune rush straight away, and Sky and Kelex, still the players affected by that nade, get run over. Again, ENCE aren't able to set up for this Nano Winston play.
Well, you take so long to kind of set up, right? You don't have a speed boost to kind of move around, and once you get inside that close quarter area, they just throw that bio grenade in there from Gala, and then it's a Nano onto Rajaro, and there's no way to counter that. We saw it, on Surabasa, right? I know how strong that Nano D.Va could be there now on the receiving end of it.
Kanale there, just Swift stepping back. Nano for the Winston. Finally, the plan is underway. Kanale did get caught, didn't have another Swift step to get away, but a great sleep by Gala. Still, Chase will be woken up and will be mad about it. So Card's going to be allowed to progress a little bit more, holding onto the primal range here, which could be the knife in the back for Virtus.Pro, as they've had such a good hold in this second phase of the map. Can they make something happen here?
They should be able to get a touch though, right? Kanale gives a little bit of a speed boost and goes back to the Kiri for the team, but you also have Shockwave here with the Bob, right? So the Bob could be pretty devastating, but that's a nice dive there. It's Chase and Kevster make a play.
Gala
for the supports, and that, I mean, this is over.
Gala couldn't get to safety in time. He was just picked around the corner, and Sky had drawn a bead on him from across the way. So ENCE get that checkpoint lined up. They do, of course, spend the primal. May have had it without it, but either way, rally is up. Rajaro definitely needs to respect that. But a Sauna Pulse Bomb, so far, they've been critical.
Yeah, I feel like Sauna has been able to kind of connect with Sky every time he's at a Pulse Bomb. So, Bio Grenade on the Chase, that'll back him up. Kai takes a big shot there from Shockwave. So, gonna back everybody on ENCE up for just a little bit. This VP trying to have Sauna block off that high ground.
Kevster here, looking to link up a little later than Chase, though. It wasn't quite there in time. The Winston's in trouble. Damage up close from Rajaro. It's just too much for Chase to deal with.
Yeah, and he's taking a lot of damage from the Bob, and it looks like he kind of gets like knocked out of potentially his bubble and knocked down to the low ground into the line of sight of the Bob and the Diva. So no real way to survive through that, as Kellex does take out Sauna. It's not going to be followed up here. So maybe now you get back to full strength here for ENCE. He's going to Swift step out of there. I mean, he's always in a weird spot.
Yeah, Chase obviously walked past him. It's not a corner you check in that case. Still way down to 20 seconds now. It's been a pretty laborious round for ENCE in terms of progress across the map. And a big tracer pick off there for Kevster. Sauna looking to wrap around, and Kai knows it. He's got to make something happen here. The Bob needs to get into the fight. He's on the point at least. Rally is active right now for Kellex, and there is a Nano Winston still on the horizon. Rajaro clearly has the bandwidth to turn around and deal with the Bob. There wasn't any initiative taken there by ENCE to make that more punishing. Pulse for Sauna, a rare miss for him in this map, but a Kitsune Rush means that Kellex here desperate to try and hold his ground, and the backline is going to get run over. Chase did work with the Nano, make no mistake, but there was nothing to protect this backline, even with the Brigana setup. And Aaron's are running out of time. Options severely limited. It's just Chase without support, and all he could do is throw down a bubble and accept his fate.
As VP puts together a pretty good defense all throughout the map, right? I think ENCE just kind of brute forces their way through those first two checkpoints, but VP has definitely found a little bit of something here in this series. I think now let's see how this Diva plays out on offense. I think Winston can obviously control some of those buildings on the high ground, potentially a little bit easier on D. So see if VP can make that Diva work. But I feel like Shockwave, I mean, we talked about Sauna and Kanale, but even there towards the end, Shockwave coming up with a few picks. When he starts shooting like we saw on Circuit, I mean, it's going to be a different game.
Quite a few situations there where like Tracers are randomly just getting caught. We saw it. That's how Virtus.Pro gave up that second point. It also happened earlier on to ENCE, right at the start of the round, in fact. So yeah, both these teams really struggling to find the happy middle ground, I think, in their Tracer aggression. And let's not forget like how long Kevster spent trying to fight Kanale up to heat flanked and just didn't really find anything at all. That was ENCE really looking for options and openings and finding very little. So ironclad defense from Virtus.Pro. They've got to be happy with that result. They've stopped a map completion there for ENCE. It's really come out of the gates with, because again, this dive composition is really frustrating to play against as an attacker.
Yeah, it'll also be pretty difficult, I mean, to kind of dislodge that brig, right? This will be probably a Sauna with just a grapple shot here, damage boosted, see if he finds anybody, and
that's a shield.
We'll be on our ways. Yep.
Yeah, none of these teams taking undue risks. We saw a couple days ago, like a lot of these like early Widow peaks, finding kills, a bizarre number of them. You can see here just how important this game is to both sides. They're just not going to take a risk like that for so little gain at the start of the round. Good dynamite connection on Chase, though. That puts a fear of God in him.
Here goes Kanale on a little bit of a flank. Yep, send some healing one way. Let's go see if we can land a kunai the other. It's on the objective here.
His team might like healing at some point, especially when Gala's dead. But I'm not your mum.
The personal Suzu as well, just on the exit.
Yes, the dichotomy of the aggressive Kiriko there really showing itself.
Yeah, the flying again on the objective personal Suzu, see if he can land 1 or 2 more kunais, and then a swift step to death.
Again, with spawn advantage being what it is, like 1 kill there is probably worth just sacking the rest of your team.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, Gala on the Ana can heal up a lot. I mean, it's not like the super powerhouse can heal the entire team by itself, but can do just a fine job, right?
Clearly, Gala's responsibility to heal up Rajaro at the moment. Canal focusing elsewhere. These headshots, though, they matter. Rally, though, and Nano already built up for ENCE. They've done a good job here. It just... Oh, okay, I was going to say, keeping that backline alive. Shockwave gets in. Where the heck does Chase go? Slept. He tried to make some space here. Virtus.Pro is so ready for this, man. Chase just disintegrated under their scrutiny.
Yeah, I mean, that's your Nano as well there as Sky drops right after using it. It's going to be the rally here. It's going to be a fob in response from Shockwave already as they quickly deal with Kellex during rally. So VP continuing strong performances here, now on to attack. That'll be the first checkpoint, and they're going to end up with their Nano here. So the Nano is going to be pretty impactful for Rajaro to try and take some of that high ground. They sleep Chase. Don't think there's going to be, not going to be able to follow that up, but just going to let them up there on the high ground. But this Nano should be pretty huge, right, for them to try and take some of this high ground pressure.
Absolutely. Such a great first fight. ENCE had both their support ults up. Just getting Sky randomly picked up by Shockwave. And there's Sauna. I mean, the DPS from Virtus.Pro have just been world beaters today. At least EMEA beaters. That's all they got their eyes set on. Looking to equalize the series here with a great showing of Paraíso, and they have paved the way for such a result already. Kevster needs a big bomb. He needs to get into the game. Kai is going to start shutting down these Shockwave angles. Sleep on Rajaro plus Bio is good. Defense Matrix is even better. He's just going to back up. They're going for it. Okay, continue to rush down for the high ground. Chase already trying to back out. He has Primal, but doesn't want to use it defensively. No way. So Virtus.Pro turn that into high ground control.
Yeah, it's an odd spot for like a Kitsune rush, right? But it does afford them high ground control as Chase takes a load of damage as he's going to have to pop the Primal to live.
Who else is getting involved in this? Again, Chase is slept during a Primal and almost killed. Back he goes. Now the Bob comes in as the second line, but Kai somehow just got knocked down by Rajaro there. I don't even think he overextended for that kill either. Virtus.Pro, where has this team been for the first half of the series? They look incredible.
Right? I mean, they keep Samoa close, right? It's 2-1. You're like, now you look at the series like a completely different fashion, right? And like, what opportunity they're going to be up, but Rajaro to deal with Kevster as he just gets on and now chases over to the Diva where, obviously if you were going to end up playing a Diva type of style, you would love to have Vistola in.
And again, a win here means Virtus.Pro get that map pool reset, which could also come in very handy, especially if they're thinking about another circuit outing. Canal, a very customary spot for them. I mean, it's working.
Canal's playing their own game.
Yep. I mean, again, like the Kitsune rushes have been questionable a little bit in terms of their timing, but they've achieved their purpose, I think.
I love it.
All right, looking at Chase here. Little poke, little prod. Kellex low. Pulse on the outside of the shield, though, but the shield's gone. Little self-Suzu, and yep, Canale's sticking around for the long haul. Unfortunately, Chase comes back through, tases him out. Getting close to the end of the map already. Look how close we are on the golden box of victory. And VP of 3 minutes 20 to play.
Yeah, and VP comes back with a great opportunity here. The Nano Diva plus Kitsune Rush in Bob. I mean, absolutely nothing here for ENCE to respond to that. Maybe a rally here from Kellex, but I don't think that's going to be enough.
Trouble again. The Diva's so punishing, and Rajaro gets the job done. Winston is now down. Rally has to be popped here. Shield patch not used quite yet, and Kevster gets in there. Pulse bomb connection. Dragon his team kicking and screaming through this game, by the looks of things, but it may not be enough even now. Rajaro, yes, hit with the fire, but able to bring Sky out of the game. And that is a dominant showing by Virtus.Pro here on Paraíso. Chase gets subbed in for ENCE. They think they have an option at least with the Winston comp, and they look terrible against Virtus.Pro. At least, respectively, the Bears are well and truly awake from hibernation.
Yeah, I mean, we have ourselves a series, right, where ENCE had not dropped anything up until this match, and then now they dropped 2 straight as VP more than signs of life. They've definitely proved that they can hang and potentially win this series here against ENCE, who have looked so strong in EMEA. As now you kind of look at some of how this series has gone thus far. Like that map 1 was a huge win there for ENCE potentially. Looking at the holistic point of the series, but man, VP looked really good playing that diva against that Winston.
Oh man, yeah, it just seemed like at any point Chase was so low, and it's interesting, right? Like, why are ENCE thinking we need Winston here? You know, would it be so crazy for them to play Vistola diva on this map?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely could have played Vistola on diva. I also can't recall the last time we've seen Chase, right? You know, speaking of Vistola the other day in the interview, it's like, well, some days you know, we have Chase available, some days not, and can't remember the last time
day one of the qualifiers
Chase in the lineup.
Literally day one of stage qualifiers, I think.
So it's been a bit, but no, I don't think you can kind of say this is like you know, well, if you have Vistola and it's a different story, right? As Chase did have some good moments on the Winston. I think it's just VP starting to come alive and, you know, really doing nice things with this diva. Rajara looking great.
Everything really working. Shockwave has, you know, continued to have really outsized impact on a lot of these fights. Sauna looks great. The pulse bombs have been immaculate thus far. And Kanale's signature style, right, operating on a lot of those flanks. While, okay, you know, it hasn't always, you know, been the game changer, it hasn't hurt this team, right? I mean, that's what Kiriko can do for you. Swift step back into the fight here, of course, being able to pile in with everybody else without having, by the way, to use a Swift step to do so is massive. Holding that cooldown for a potential, you know, contingency method and just jump in there, Suzu the team as they dive in. It's beautiful stuff. And the Bionades from Gala have been really, really good. Here's your stats here for that map. And yeah, look, I mean, again, like that, I believe it. They're different to damage dealt. I mean, we know Winston doesn't have the same level of, you know, mitigation via defense matrix that Diva does.
You're also comparing like Brig damage versus Kiriko damage on a map that's pretty large, right? So the Kiri's definitely going to be able to put down a little bit more damage than that Brig, especially when I know there's not a ton of collapsing onto that Brig. It felt like a lot of times that, you know, Kellex would be one of the last to fall for ENCE. So it'll be a push map selection here for ENCE, right? They kind of have to pick a push map to finish out the rest of our game modes here. And I mean, where do you think they go, right? I assume Vistola comes on back in, right? So you'll probably have more Ramatra, Diva, Sigma type looks.
Yeah, and as a result of that, you probably not going to Runasapi. No one's been playing New Queen Street, so they'll probably leave Colosseo is the option here as well. We've seen obviously ENCE take this map and look really, really good on it in general. But I want to re-establish expectations here for everybody. When we came into this game, I mean, Jake picked a 4-1, but said he wouldn't be surprised if he saw a 4-0 sweep. Johnny said it's definitely going to be a 4-0 sweep. I said I definitely think it's going to be a 4-0 sweep. I mean, Virtus.Pro have showed us some great gameplay, but not this level. This is something different. This is something new for this team. And this is now something that threatens ENCE's what should have been almost free ticket to finally winning a stage final. Now Virtus.Pro have stepped up and said, oh no, it's not going to be that easy for you. And we knew this team was on the rise. We saw them at the EWC. They were underrated. They were definitely slept on. They were like the lowest seed out of their region. They came and had the highest placement of any EMEA team. Now they brought that power domestically. And again, I talked about it yesterday. A changing of the guard might be afoot here.
Oh, it's, Colosseo will be the map pick like you talked about there for ENCE, and feels like one. I mean, to lose 3 maps in a row, right? After not losing really at all, feels like this is a scenario where like you kind of almost have like ENCE on the ropes if you're VP, right? You don't want to allow them to kind of gain a little bit of confidence back. Like if you can win this one, right? Then ENCE is like, oh, you know, we've second place so many times. We're looking fantastic. We haven't dropped the map in the main event, and then you lose 3 straight. I mean, that's going to put a lot of doubt in the players' minds.
Have to find a way to block this momentum, to slow Virtus.Pro down, because that belief is burgeoning for that team right now. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, our 5th map of the series as Colosseo is on deck. All right, Virtus.Pro, the spotlight is on you. A slow start to this series has been turned around into 2 extremely convincing map wins. Circuit Royal and Paraíso, both won by the Bears without so much as breaking a sweat, or so it seemed. And now ENCE, in our last map before our pool reset, are taking us to Colosseo.
Yeah, this map opens up a few different options for VP as well, right? Do you want to play Sigma? Do you want to play Diva? Do you want to play Ramatra? Right, can play a little bit of all of those on this map. As ENCE, we talked about, figured they would bring Vestola in, which they do. He comes back into the game after just sitting out on Paraiso, and most likely will pilot that Diva.
We get to see, of course, Kev's probably not on the Sojourn. No, this is definitely a reasonable Tracer map. Kai, looking at you, buddy. You got your work cut out for you, as per usual. Shockwave and Sauna on an absolute tear right now, not to mention this extremely ambitious flanking from Canale that often can result in random picks. See some respectful.
Yeah, I think he's got to play it a little bit differently though with the Lucio, right? I think you're going to play this, not as flank and heavy, right? Where if you have the Ana in the mix, you can play a little bit more aggressively, right? Because you have a lot of that healing for the rest of the team. But with a Lucio in the mix, there's no way you can play as aggressive. I mean, you'd be dropping everybody.
Rajaro here definitely taking his fair amount of poke in the front line. Canalo was on the job. Not that Sauna was looking for a flanking. Oh my goodness. Kai, I just called him out for it. Struggling. 2 consecutive kunai headshots.
He's got everybody to deal with.
Yeah, it's such a big job. He's hoping that someone like Kevster can reduce the pressure, but Kevster's playing in a pretty neutral position right now.
As VP gets a little bit aggressive, just trying to back up this Diva, right? You can kind of bully a little bit there with the Ramatra.
They're getting forced back. Charging towards Canale. Looks like they were hit by a dynamite as well, so they had to get out. And let's keep an eye on the support ultimates now. They're starting to come around, and Kevster gets rid of Sauna. Perhaps Virtus.Pro step a little too far as ENCE were ready to gobble them up.
Yes, Kevster will find another one as well, and this is quite good for ENCE because you'll have that nano boost for Vestola. We saw how important it was on Flashpoint. You'll have it here with no real answer for it from the back line of VP. So ENCE takes a little bit of a lead here early on.
Vestola already wants to stake his claim to that stairwell and deny like an easy flood back in by Virtus.Pro. Okay, it's going to be an issue now. Drops down. Okay, the Vortex drags him down from that windowsill. Vestola still able to make use of the nano boost though. Finds Shockwave and cleans his clock. Another player advantage.
And that's through the VP Kitsune rush, right? Canale drops on the high ground to try and see if they can punish Vestola, but just not there, as the coordination between Vestola and Kevster is on point here early on Colosseo, as looks like it could even be a first checkpoint here. Is Sauna just lurking, so you need to maybe get a touch prevent that, but looks like it will be that first checkpoint that goes on through.
Nothing that can be done here for VP. Vestola being really frustrating, playing from those like higher floors in the building surrounding the bot. There's that pulse bomb though. Sky Reaper finally down, so Virtus.Pro do make a thrust in the back line, and it's extremely effective. Kev's one on the way out here. Unlikely you can really convert on this, but we've seen Kev do more before. Recall at least forced out of Sauna, and Kev says it's enough for one day.
Yeah, there was the bob there from Kai. It was kind of a little bit up to that high ground, like on the ramp, seeing if he can kind of catch VP as they came on in, but not in a position to really put down enough damage to potentially end up winning it for ENCE, or being able to situation where you could flip it. As I mean, Vestola, he gets up to the bot straight away, so wants to deny any type of progress, and then gets out, you know, once the rest of his team is in play. But that's going to be Shockwave yet again, continuing his fantastic play in the series, taking out Kelly. Again,
asking for a lot though. ENCE hadn't fully backed up, and Shockwave exposed himself to Sky there, busy focusing on that Kai battle. Vestola here as well can hang in this fight. Sky will be back. They're having to rely on the health packs for a time here. Vestola doesn't want to go too far. Okay, no switch step up for Canale. Apparently, he just eats that one. And now a remake opportunity for Vestola means that healing's not as important for him. Kev's is able to roll straight on in. And was Kellex with 2 credited kills.
Yeah, this will be self-destruct from Vestola, as actually Sauna gets the D-Mech, but everybody falls here for VP, so you'll have to wait for Sauna to get back in the action as the bot goes deeper back into Virtus.Pro territory.
Also 10 straight there.
You'll have this nano again. Yeah.
Checkpoint gains now for ENCE. Okay, pretty untouched so far. There's the Bob. It's still going to be the attentions of Vestola that Shockwave will have to contest with. Drops down Vistola now, looking to maybe peel a little bit for Kellex briefly. Sound barrier has now expired. There's a Kitsune rush in play for Virtus.Pro. And Kevster just waits this out for the most part. They've already got the checkpoint, so Kevster's looking for something decent here with a pulse. Without Sky, feels like it's asking a lot of this one-man army. So far, so good, though. First notch in his belt, but I think that has to be it.
Yeah, I mean, he just gets one and then just tries to get out with his life as
nice.
Kai on a little bit of a flank. Gets one as well. Well, you know, they'll have Vistola who comes when he comes back on in, right? He just does a nice job of just getting onto that bot, contesting it, getting off of it, right? So there's not really anything that you can gain much of here for VP. Is you see Rajaro has to back up, needs the rest of the squad to fight. So you're going to get another fight here mid-map.
Bob here as well for Kai. The Annihilation is definitely going to be a concern for ENCE. But look at how dispersed the ENCE are now, especially towards the high ground. Definitely keeps them safe from the Ramatra's presence. But it does mean that without Vistola on the bot, they're going to give up some ground here. Vistola will need to head to the high ground. Just a pit stop, though. Bob goes in first. Vistola already touching down. Rajaro is going to have to give some ground. He knows he can't use Annihilation here. There's just no good application for it.
This is just burning so much clock, though, right? Is the clock just dwindling here is VP behind by, you know, 60 meters or so. It'll be Kevster looking for a pulse bomb. Doesn't need to overcommit here. It's going to be very difficult to get a use out of that Annihilation with so much high ground control from ENCE.
For a second, I thought Virtus might still commit anyway. Pulse there, no good for Sauna. Even on top of the Vortex, it was Sky that was able to skip away. Flip the map a little bit now. Rajaro definitely in the eye of the storm, and it's going to go for the Annihilation either way. Vistola doesn't seem to be bothered. He's nanoed right now. But it's going to be very, very hard to kill Rajaro. Ideally, ignore him until you can't any longer. And it's going to be Kevster that eventually turns his attentions toward the Omnic Warlord.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even matter, right? You know, they get the Annihilation off. They try and make a play for Vistola, but he's nano, so he can't really. He doesn't want to stand there and fight the Nano Diva, does Rajaro, but he kind of looks down that choke in the hallway, and there's no way he's closing the gap with any of those players. So it has to kind of turn and go towards that Diva, and you're not really going to get much of anything there. This will be the Bob from Shockwave from VP. So I think just trying to help them get out of the spot.
Yeah, I mean, look where it is. It's so annoying. You can shoot at the low ground, so Sky has to jump over the map. That's why Kai got caught out. Really nice bomb placement under great duress there from Shockwave. Now allows Virtus.Pro to maintain their support ultimates into the next engagement. One that, with only 3 minutes left in the map, it's going to be really important. And it's a window here, but Kellex will almost certainly have a sound barrier to match.
Yeah, but trying to push into this high ground that ENCE is going to be able to control, it's going to be extremely difficult for VP, right? How do you get to this position? It looks like this is going to be their option, is they're going to go on a bit of a flank here with their Ramatra.
It's nice to call Sky out. He was only barely able to get back behind Vistola, but the defense matrix just doesn't go far enough. So no Ash here, and it's 2 consecutive fight wins for Virtus.Pro. Great for making up ground, and great for threatening a checkpoint here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a really nice decision. They were never going to take this high ground by just kind of brute forcing through this choke, you know, with that Ramatra. So they decided to go on the flank there with the speed boost, get the Ramatra into position. I think they caught the supports out with really no clue that that was going to happen. They need a sound barrier there in that fight, but still, you're in must-win fight scenarios here for VP.
It's a really elegant way to unravel the high ground control that ENCE have been exploiting. Okay, Kitsune Rush good. Virtus.Pro chaining together these great fights. And Kai almost knew his goose was cooked there. Didn't even bother to step away. Vistola with a self-destruct though. Fancying hanging around a little bit longer, but this will definitely mean that the checkpoint is under serious threat now. Sky dying late means you've got no chance of contesting it either.
Yeah, this is going to be checkpoint here for Virtus.Pro. That's massive. They just don't really have a ton to work with, though. And you have this pulse bomb here from Sauna. Potentially on a support could be quite huge, but then also maybe Rajaro can end up building up towards this Annihilation. Maybe that could be a big difference.
3 fights, 1 in a row, though, by Virtus.Pro. A huge power play for them.
Vistola.
They're Susing it off, though. Vistola can't chase this. Or at least he doesn't feel that way. Rajaro, though, goes down. No Annihilation build up. Didn't have the extra durability to rely on. So VP have to take their foot off the gas. Only for a moment, though. They can't afford to get staggered out in an elongated fashion. Sauna is at risk of that. Well, Vistola says 400 HP was about all he wanted to give up.
Yeah, so I mean, you're going to lose a little bit of progress here for Virtus.Pro, but you give yourself an opportunity right here with the 30 seconds about You'll get control of the bot yet again, and you can start kind of moving it back in towards ENCE territory. It's the Annihilation double support ult. If you can force these fights on the low ground, could be huge.
Yeah, but they don't have a way to wrap around. They don't have the time to go for that cheeky little flank anymore, so they've got to deal with this high ground again. Shockwave got knocked up instantly by Bob, but he was trained on Gala, who has to get out. That leaves Virtus.Pro with even less time to make their strategy work. No, Canale! He had the Sune Rush! The humanity of it! Now it's going to be Rajaro who has to rely on this Annihilation, but how does he get Valing from it? He doesn't! Sound barrier for ENCE, they see an opening and they take it. Now Rajaro gets hit with the bio, and that Annihilation looks awful sad when he is on his own, and ENCE have fought back in the series, taking things to Colosseo, relying on the tried and true D.Va composition. They get that dub.
And they find, Kevser specifically finds Canale and Gala. One already had the Kitsune Rush, and one was 97% to a sound barrier, which, you know, with the Annihilation could have been a difference in turning, making that a fight win potentially for VP, or at least a lot more interesting for VP. So ENCE finds themselves now back on the board on match point here, but it was another really close game.
And of course VP have the chance to select a map, to try and find something that not only keeps them alive in this series, but puts them obviously on that tie-break again. This is far from over, but ENCE have shown that, you know, they still have it. They have what they need, and they still have a D.Va composition that is really reliable, very hard to break through. Yeah. And the strengths of it are the same, as we've been discussing over the course of this series. Pistola can do so much when he gets a nano. I think Kai had a bit of a quieter map again, frankly, but Kevster was able to step up and take control in a couple of key situations.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for Virtus.Pro throughout this map has been trying to break that high ground setup. You know, once they kind of got through that with a really nice play where they kind of speed boost Rajaro all the way around with Sauna to go up towards the high ground, then it started to get a little bit dicey. But the D.Va on really for ENCE able to access that high ground, just a huge difference over kind of having the Ramatra.
Yeah. And this is what VP had to do to mimic a fraction of ENCE's power. Sneak up into the high ground and catch Sky Reaper, use a sound barrier in that fight, speed boost in.
They chained 2 or 3 fights together, though.
Yeah, they chained 3 fights together.
Yeah.
At that point, they'd run out of ultimates, frankly, to make use of. I don't know if you can really ask much more from a team at this level than getting 3 fights in a row on a push map. Unfortunately, they weren't really able to, like, stagger ENCE nearly enough and make that extra progress that ENCE had been able to do right at the start of the round, like literally right in the first 3 minutes. That's where ENCE built that lead.
Yeah, and now it kind of goes to VP, right? What do they do in terms of map pick? Do they revisit any of the maps from the first series? So you see the maps that are kind of you know, eliminated from selection. The first time they played, we saw Lijiang, Shambali, and King's Row. So those 3 are actually all available to play potentially.
Can they like King's Row or Shambali, I think, where we'd probably see them go, right? Like Shambali's going to be great for maybe forcing a rush style, King's Row as well.
And just play Junkertown and let Shockwave play Widow and just
honestly, Rajaro Ball, Shockwave Widow.
Play a greedy backline.
Greedy backline with the Wrecking Ball composition. I'm actually entirely here for that. I think that any time you can put Shockwave in a winning matchup against Kai, then you're going to be happy. You might be onto something. You might be onto something.
Maybe we'll see. So we'll get an idea of where they decide to go. Shambali, Shambali was their first pick in the series the last time, and they ended up getting full health. So maybe they feel a little bit more confident today with how they're playing.
They should do. I mean, they looked great over the course of this series. It wasn't enough on Colosseo, but they've still got plenty of hope for the later part. Season 12, by the way, is officially live. Make sure you jump in there. We had a nice little mid-season rank reset for those of you that care about that kind of stuff.
What'd you get ranked? I saw a little gold 3.
I actually, I had one of the best placement runs ever. I got D5 off my places, which is nice. Normally I get placed like, you know, Plat, so I have to fight my way out of that existential hole. But yeah, this time we start on the right side and say, don't worry, you'll all be my once a month tweet. You'll all be updated with my progress as we go. Don't worry.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. Oh, do we get a ball comp? Surely not. Surely not.
you could play ball. I think this is really good for like a Sigma, and then also like with how Shockwave played on the Widow on circuit, why not, right? I mean, you can play a little bit of a greedier backline if you wanted.
Yeah, if I'm Kai, my forehead just hit the desk, bro. Oh my god, not again. All right.
Yeah, it's not a super fun thing for ENCE to kind of have to play with and deal with, right? No, Junkertown is just one of the maps that's like a little bit weirder than just about everything else we have in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Really unique. And of course, the addition of the rubble outside of the first checkpoint gives like defenders a real shot, as opposed to like trying to find a way to like get it.
They're not just standing in the open anymore.
Trying to use defensive Widow. She's like hiding behind a water tower. Like that's it. Like there's like one angle that she can play from. It's actually horrendous to try and play like that. But now, of course, around that rubble, you've got a lot more cover, and you can actually happily play that more aggressive style of Widow. I mentioned the Wrecking Ball because while we haven't seen it from VP in recency, Rajaro is a really solid Wrecking Ball player. They do have that composition available to them. It is also the setup that might allow them that quote-unquote grittier composition. You can definitely play Kiri here. Yeah. I would say it would be a little funky if they go for like a Iliari out of the gates, but it does definitely give you a little bit more firepower at those medium to longer ranges. And they could also just build a Sigma into this comp, right? We can, sort of see what we saw from them on Circuit Royal, which was really effective setup. The Pharah, much harder to get value out of here, as opposed to Circuit, because again, the verticality of Circuit just means she gets all those angles to work from. Here it is. This gets Virtus.Pro to a tiebreaker map, if they can win it out on Junkertown. But for ENCE, it is match point. VP have to throw down now, dig their heels in, fight for the long series, and come out on top. But either way, they will not be with a map pick for that decider if we get there.
Yeah, and just kind of looking through, we have not seen ENCE play this map in group play or the main event. So completely different kind of game here for ENCE to figure out here on this map is a VP. This is the type of thing that you can play though, right? You can play on a Kiri here. You can play most likely Son on like a Tracer or something, right? With like a ball. Like you can play these types of setups here on Junkertown and just make it really odd here for ENCE, right? This is not a map that a lot of people love to select, right? It's a map that I think could be pretty divisive amongst some teams and players. But the teams that can kind of make it work here can definitely do some crazy things. Is the Sonic Arrow here early out for Sonic? He'll go over to the Tracer.
All right. So we actually have the D.Va instead. So all of our speculation, all of our excitement ends up boiling down to what is a pretty standard setup. But it doesn't mean that Shockwave will be without opportunity to flex his Widow muscles again. Opts not to actually take any like remotely high ground positioning to start with. And I mean,
if he plays anywhere close how he played on Circuit, I mean...
Yeah, this one would be a wrap. But it can be hard to bottle that lightning sometimes, right? We've definitely seen players have fantastic maps and then on the same, hero in a similar context just kind of fall off. Shockwave has to believe that he still has it. He's looking, he's hunted. Kai's giving him very little, guys. He's been through the trenches today. I can respect it. Canal, though, of course, will always be looking for flanks like this. Self-Suzu, love that. Group up with Sauna.
He's got his Tracer to help. They're kind of trapped in this room here.
Yeah, this is very scary actually for ENCE. Pistola's also low. They're not getting out of this alive. There's no way. Shockwave.
Oh, big bio.
Just keeps Pistola standing. Shockwave doesn't need to do anything actually, just exist. All events getting forced away. That's an odd spot for Kai to be, I'll admit. Goes on a bit of a flank. Oh, Gala, beautiful bio there. Catches onto two. Kai's able to find something here, but he's so susceptible right now. Oh, there it is. Sauna would have been the one that would have been his undoing. And Kai finds a headshot on the move. He's back, folks. He's arrived. And he's leaving.
D.Va, though, in his face,
he's getting out of here right now.
There he goes. But no, they kind of push them in by the Mega Health Pack, and then it's like a big bio grenade from Gala. We saw that when we spectated a Junkertown game the other day, just kind of being pushed in on the defensive side in towards that Mega Health Pack, especially when they're running the Ana on the other side. You see the position that Canal and Sauna can get into. It looks like ENCE setting up here for one more touch.
And they get it. Pistola even able to have some impact. Kevster got off for just a moment there. I mean, Shockwave is in such an oppressive position either way. ENCE knew that they'd be struggling to contest that one realistically. So back off they go.
Man, I love this. I love the map selection though from VP. I think it's just a really great call. The other day when we watched like Twisted Minds, I think, versus Space Station, we were just kind of like a little bit confused potentially by that map selection. But I think this is a really good call here from VP with how the series has gone this far. It'll be an insight here from both teams. So just gonna kind of everybody sit around here, wait for this to wear off. Maybe not Canale. Canale looks like he's ready to go.
Yep. Canale does not care.
The walls are there.
Not an issue for him. Kai's not in a great spot to see all the action until Virtus.Pro just walk out of the open and serve themselves up. And it is your boy Canale. But Shockwave was waiting for Kai to make the angle switch. So Widow down. Virtus.Pro still have an Ana to lean on. So good healing, but they need to worry about Kevster now. Shockwave. Oh, a bit maladroit on the grapple there, but able to avoid the attentions of the Tracer for now. Rajaro slept, which means that Sky is free to heal that high ground presence of Kevster. He still loses out there to Sauna. Shockwave eventually goes down, but ENCE invests so much into controlling that high ground. Now, Kellex steps up to slap Silly alongside Vistola. Rajaro at least will keep his mech.
Yeah, it's a lot used by ENCE though, right? Pulse Bomb in for sight. Nano in the rally there to kind of live on through that as Canale just, that's a rough spot there. They finally catch him out. So, hey, look, it's going to happen every once in a while. You play like that, right? I mean, you're going to have to take the bad if you're going to celebrate some of those highlights on the flank.
Small thing, but you're going to see the Divas play a little differently here because there's no way to jump off the map if they get desuited. Might even see that play out here. Vistola doesn't want a bar of it. None of that smoke, please. So you stuck around as Mini Diva early in the fight. It'd be like we saw, I think, Samoa earlier on. It's really bad.
ENCE comes up now, clutch, trying to hold some of this high ground, right? Deny this space from Virtus.Pro, prevent Shockwave from getting in position. That's kind of the game here. Is a nice body block, yeah.
Rajaro has to get a pack there. Vistola got full micro rocket damage, but oh my goodness, barely gets away with his mech intact. Sky says, thanks for the ult charge.
Sky doing a nice job. Yeah.
Shockwave playing that low ground here. Maybe a grapple into position to punish Kai, who is looking in the right direction. He's on the right track. I think he just saw Canale there who realizes it. Now pings from both sides came out. Nice by Vistola. That's a Nano Diva going to work here. Virtus.Pro, this is not ideal. They've really lost a lot of that head of steam they built up in the first phase of the map here. Sky and Vistola combining to create really a brick wall that Virtus.Pro have dashed themselves on multiple times now.
Yes, I love Kai. He sees that Sauna goes by and saw like just a little bit of the outline of Canale, and he's like, yeah, they're both coming. So he just grapples directly across, and he's like, I don't want to be anywhere alone. As see the Tracer and the Curie just working together here on another flank yet again. They'll get rid of the Venom Mine here.
Kai knows about it. In for a sight here for Shockwave, not for Kai. So pretty hard for the Widow to hide. She just has to play with the rest of the team, and Kai's made use of it. Both Tracers down to Widow shots. Headshots, by the way. Shockwave has to reposition. So, yeah, does not care about the bio. No one else is looking at him. Rajaro, though, in the meantime, dealt with Kai. So now Shockwave has some uncontested territory to operate in. This is where Virtus.Pro get back on the front foot. I like that, though. Good pressure from Vistola. Sleep, I think, came in there from Gala to shut him down. It's Rajaro with a bio. And amidst this Kitsune rush now, they're looking to go to work on Virtus.Pro. But Vistola always a wrench in the gears for them. Bit of self-destruct and a remake opportunities in an awkward spot for it, though. Still, Kellex to the rescue, apparently. Canale falls. Bionade threatened Vistola, but he's able to get back in the mech, and this is potentially devastating for Virtus.Pro. This is devastating. They need more progress than this. The Kevster's got in, and the stick as well. The flare from this man is unbelievable, but they've kept Rajaro standing, and now the D-Mech came in from Vistola. This is awkward. There's nowhere for the Baby Diva to go. He sits there and just blasts away and hopes to get it back. This is the window. This is the power play for Virtus.Pro to stay alive on Junkertown. But Rajaro gets slept. Kai looking for the Tracer. Sauna has no choice but to block line of sight and try and move the card up. It's going to be a Nano going over to Rajaro now. He wants the Baby Diva. And Vistola, a non-factor for the last 30 seconds now. Kellex in trouble. Rajaro gets a second, and Sky has to head for the heals. The sleep will let him get away at the very least, but Kevster might have to go huge yet again. It's Kai instead, though. No one's on the card. Sauna has to step up and recalls instantly. Finally, attention towards Kai, but Rajaro is low. Still has the ability to remech, though, and it should be ENCE being forced to give this up. 90 seconds of VP.
Yes, Kai, though, definitely starting to come alive for a second there. Oh, the two headshots there from Kai back to back. As I thought for a second there, they were going to be able to pull it out. When Canale uses the Kitsune Rush much earlier, it's actually Kelix with a great rally. Denies much of anything coming out of that Kitsune, but losing Vistola's mech, I mean, that is quite rough. As we'll take a look here. Some of the shots from Kai.
Oh, he's been playing Widow headshot only.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah, his other home is Necropolis. So now at least able to take a safer spot here. Good couple of shots.
For Vistola.
Here it is. Going to use it straight away. Vistola in a shockwave. Slept instantly, but found his mark almost straight away. Not great for Virtus.Pro now as this fight breaks down a lot. Rajaro trying to get upstairs, get towards Sky Reaper, but Kelix is there. And Ana, she lives. Oh, this stagger is so brutal.
You'll be able to, yeah, you'll be able to stagger Rajaro for a little bit, get slept. All the damage he's trying to do gets like eaten up with the defense matrix as well, right? So not even able to kind of like build back towards a mech.
Somewhere FRD's ears are burning. That was pretty brutal for Rajaro. Mech now regained. All events ready to receive this push here. Vistola hoping to force Virtus.Pro back by a couple of crucial seconds. Infraside active for Kai. The timing is pretty good, but Shockwave has his available too, and it's Sauna finding the Ana. Finding the answer potentially. But Kai's been able to find Canale. It's going to be the Kiriko out of the mix, and Garland does not have the help. Virtus.Pro getting some extra progress here, but they're not going to be finishing the map. It's just not on the cards. Rajaro will stall with that defense matrix and a remake opportunity here. Going to buy some time at least for Sauna to get there now. So it was another fly that ENCE have to swat. Sauna low, there's that recall, still buying the time, but it's drips and drabs here for Virtus.Pro. Canale, the next up to the mark. Lucio switch doesn't get him much extra value.
Yeah, as ENCE goes big on their second point defense, right? That's when they really started to turn it up a little bit, where VP got off to a tremendous start. VP in the end able to take that second checkpoint, though. That could be quite big as we move in now to VP's defensive side of things. I wonder, do they play the D.Va here on defense? Do they decide to maybe play even like a Sigma kind of hold that stairs, by that first kind of bridge a little bit harder? You can probably do that on the first point, but I think teams would probably go for the D.Va because you want D.Va for second point, right? D.Va, you kind of need to control some of those high ground spaces.
You don't want to get stuck on the low ground without the ability to actually like exercise some control in the second phase. But even Winston will be better than that at this point. Yeah, no wrecking ball for Rajaro. It will be the D.Va composition. Again, VP playing without the Lucio for the most part here doesn't seem to hurt them. Canale, very active. He's been getting very, very busy on some of these flanks. Can do the same thing here. I mean, the one fear for the Sigma comps on this map is that you can get encircled and flanked by that super high mobility comp. And also, your shield doesn't do a whole lot except keep you alive. Like, you can't cover your Widow's angles. You definitely can't help your Tracer at all. And your backline sometimes feels hedged into playing from behind you, which also limits their sightlines at times. So,
yeah, I mean, sometimes we've seen it. I want to say, not super recently, right? But like where a Sigma kind of would hold one side of the choke, and then maybe you kind of have like a BAP and Brig on the other side, right? And you can kind of make it like a little bit of a death trap to get on in. But how good D.Va is and the mobility you need for the second point, no reason to veer off of that.
Sauna almost just catching a stray there from Kai. So Virtus.Pro give up the space. Now remember what happened to ENCE. They all got caught inside that building, surrounded. Now it was a flanking Kiriko that helped. So harder for ENCE to pull off here. Still a possibility.
I love like Kai always has to like be like turning his head like 180 degrees, like trying to search for Canale as he kind of sees him there off to the side as it's a big shot there onto the Brig. So no Brig here now for ENCE. As Stola's got to figure out how to live from this position.
Might just be looking to buy a little bit of time. Yeah. And okay, nicely done by Shockwave. Okay. Another tick back in the W column there in the Widow matchup. Virtus.Pro look pretty robust there on that defense. Of course, Canale is looking to deal with Kevster now. It is obviously Kevster trying to flank here. Now we saw this play out of Paraiso, and I wouldn't say it actually gave a shining review of Kevster there. He found it very hard to get past the Kiriko.
No, it's just like, one kunai just forces out a recall, potentially, right? Like, a kunai it can be so devastating in terms of the amount of damage. Just look at this, an Infrasight here already
Dangerous for Kev.
From Shockwave.
I mean, this is the safest place for Kev to be. It's crazy, right? Out in the open. Gala now in trouble. Has to have known. He just saw Shockwave go down. He knew he'd be next on the menu. Does hit the shots. It's nice, but the sleep dart was the really important one. That one went astray. And a decent on Rajaro here now. ENCE will break through and get to this second phase of the map. And with decent time, to be fair. First fight, yeah, a little sussy. The second one, though, looked really, really good.
And that's massive for ENCE, right, to be able to take this checkpoint rather quickly now, give themselves an opportunity here towards the second part of the map where asking Shockwave to kind of fight Kevster in that one-on-one, it's very difficult, right? I mean, that's why you see some teams, they'll play like the Brig, right? You can kind of play the Brig near the Widow or near the Ana, right? In combination, like all three, make it very difficult for like a Tracer to get on in.
Okay, keep an eye out there on the Brig in the low ground. You can see ENCE already formulating their plan to assume control of the high ground. Sauna pulse bombs have been awfully reliable so far. Gets split out very quickly though. Takes a shot. Canal down already. ENCE starting to build momentum. This has to be a concerning sign for Virtus.Pro. Canal might just have to dial it down a little more. With this infraside active, Gala can't really peek out and take aggressive sidelines, which means Virtus.Pro giving up the map. Great stick though. There it is, like clockwork. Sauna connects.
I mean, that is huge, right? That's like the infrasight going on as well. You know it's coming, and Sauna just comes up clutch there. Is just trying to deny more progress here from ENCE, but I mean, Sauna gets put in a really difficult spot. I don't know how he gets out of this.
Somehow Rajaro keeps him protected with that defense matrix. He gets away. Canal, though, suffered some scrutiny immediately after. And now Sauna again, straight back to an aggressive position. He cannot rest on his laurels behind his own defensive line. He needs to threaten Kai's position. Kevster surges up the cart, though. It's been making progress this whole time. Sauna for two, though, in the back line. It's Garlic going down. If Kevster finds one here, this fight is still well and truly on. Rally being popped. It's a full commitment here for ENCE to try and get to this next checkpoint. Oh, that corner. I wondered if he'd be able to get out of it, but no connection there. Sauna still at large, still raring to go. And ENCE might have had to double back.
Hello there.
Oh, and big for VP, Mitch. You hold on to the nano throughout all of that. That's the nano and the rally gone from ENCE. You hold on to this nano for Rajaro. That is huge. How good the Diva has been with the nano boost thus far today is Sauna coming up big with some huge kills. Kevster also starting to play much better on the Tracer, but the support's now coming up big as Gala. This nano could be a huge difference maker. They've
really corralled Gala and the Widowmaker back into that position. Sauna had very little help there. Vistola says, I'm going to hang out here for a time. Looks towards Rajaro, who got that nano boost. Gala eventually able to assume a sideline to protect his Diva. Vistola has the double back for the health pack, and now the defense matrix is going to run out eventually. Canal going down. There was a terrible sign for Virtus.Pro. Can they stop the remake here? Yes! Vistola gets through the self-destructing mech and removes Rajaro, who was hoping to shelter amongst it. Now it's dangerous. Kevster recalls on the high ground. Looks like Shockwave gave as good as he got. But Vistola, not expecting him to come from this angle, surely. Tried to set that kill up for Kai. He eventually takes it. And now that card is knocking on the door of the last phase of the map. Vistola knows he's done his job, essentially. Still some contest on the card, but it's only Rajaro. And all he can do is try to threaten a backliner, step up and stall. Canal's going to be swift-stepping over towards the Diva and keep them standing with that Suzu. It's Kai eventually falling. Gala actually wins out that really protracted engagement on the high ground. Rajaro is healthy. Gala has the sideline. And that's what Vistola's trying to break up now. Goes in with the nano. Canal able to get to the rescue, but eventually has to give himself up, and Gala just ignored. He ignored the Diva. And he did a great job. Rajaro eventually desuited. Vistola trying to finish the map here. And finally, Virtus.Pro are going to have to give this up. It's just the winner to get it done. Nice dogfight there for VP, but now the last objective is where all eyes are on.
That was so close there towards the end, as actually Gala's still stuck in this position. Oh, this is pretty brutal here for VP. They're going to lose your Ana.
But
this Canal goes over to the Lucio, maybe just trying to get back into this thing rather quickly.
Gala forced the self-destruct out of Vistola. He does not have it available now. He used it because of the Ana damage from an off angle, and he was desperate to get back in mech. A little thing, but it might matter in these next couple of fights. Healing up, infrasights for both Widows. Kai creeping up, knows where the Ana is, but does not have the line. The jump in for Sauna. It's going to be a rally popped here for Kellex, something Virtus.Pro don't have access to themselves. They back up a little. Rajaro, the only player contesting, getting consistent healing still from Gala. Vistola now needs to threaten the backline, and Kevster might have done it. That might be the kill that gets them there. ENCE is all they needed. And eventually, they emerge from the depths with the Bears in their grasp. Finally, claiming victory in EMEA.
Yeah, finally ENCE comes out on top. Kevster with that pulse bomb. That kind of decides it all there at the end, dealing with the Ana after the nano goes down there from Gala. And man, what a great series there. It's gotta feel good for ENCE, right? They've been right on the doorstep, all year long. One of the best teams, in the world, one of the more consistent teams in the world. Finally get a win here in EMEA.
And it looked a little bit shaky, right? We were worried going into Coliseum. We were like, hey, hold on, guys. This is a little bit frightening, but that's the hallmark of a great team, a quality roster that's able to bounce back from losing those 2 maps in a row, come back in, look to Junkertown, a map where Kai, who has struggled in the matchup against Shockwave over much of the series, has to step up, has to really offer a greater level of resistance. It's a Kevster Pulse Bomb once more, fam, that ends the game.
Sick stuff.
ENCE, of course, taking the main event, finally having been involved in every grand final thus far.
They did indeed. They finally come out on top, and in what fashion it was done as well. Incredible performance across the board. But before we shower ENCE with the credit that is due and all the glory, I do want to take a quick moment to talk about VP, because they did the quintessential losing is learning. They faced off against both ENCE as well as SSG previously, and their second round in each of those matchups looked so much better. They had such a good idea of their win conditions. They switched up their compositions accordingly. They played a really, really phenomenal game, and like there's not enough praise I have for each and every single one of those players.
Yeah, I mean, they were down 2-0 in this series, but found a way to claw themselves back in it with Circuit, and then later on Paraiso here when ENCE decided to sub in Chase, of course. Sauna had some like monster performances on this Tracer throughout the entire tournament, but also here in the grand finals, having a huge impact. Rajaro again, like in the finals here and making an impression. It's just a young player in this scene. Shockwave had a dominant performance on Circuit Real. So yeah, I mean, sort of stacked roster here, Virtus.Pro. And they made it pretty close against ENCE when, people like me predicted a 4-0 for ENCE. So credit to Virtus.Pro for making it as close as they did.
Yeah, you gotta, I mean, I've criticized at times Virtus.Pro for playing the double flex sport. I said maybe it wouldn't work at this level. But honestly, Kanale, kind of made me a bit of a believer at points through the series. On Paraiso, really impressive work from him on the flanks, dueling Kevster. Not many support players are going to take it to Kevster like that and really put Kevster on his heels at times. So we got to give respect to VP for making it this far, for securing a second place finish. I hope they are one of the teams that does qualify for Stockholm. But ENCE, I mean, come on, man. They are undeniable in this meta with off-tank, with Kevster using his flexibility to the maximum, Kai able to be stable on these hit-scan heroes. I mean, just such a monster team to go up against here. And Vestola, I mean, my pick for MVP, I thought he just absolutely delivered in the finals.
In this Diva meta? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed finding a better player to have on your team. And, I mean, I think the proof's in the pudding for Vestola. Time and time again, clutching out fights, even losing teammates early in the fight. You give the nano to Vestola, you continue to believe, you continue to fight with Kevster at his side. He kept killing off those backlines, was such an incredible nuisance for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, Vestola, fantastic job. We've been, highlighting how impactful Vestola has been in this meta. But it was also nice to, of course, we expected Kevster to pop off in the grand finals, and Kevster did pop off in the grand finals on Tracer and Echo. But also, Kai had his moment in the sun as well. The Widowmaker on Junkertown. That's when Kai, it really felt like Kai came online and was a huge difference maker on Junkertown to close out the entire grand final series. Also as well, Kellex and Sky, like I pointed out earlier, it really did feel like they had control over Sauna and Kanale on that Kiriko, even on Junkertown, right? So credit to ENCE. I mean, that was an amazing performance. They really knew what Virtus.Pro were doing, and they dealt with it accordingly.
Absolutely. I'm also happy that throughout the main event, we also got to have a quick look at Maimon, who came in. We also saw Chase now in the grand final, even though Paraiso did not go their way in the very end. Alas, a dub is a dub. They got the victory. They came out on top. They are our EMEA champion. It's time to talk to our winners. Skye is joining us for a quick chat. So first and foremost, of course, congratulations. You guys did it.
Thank you.
Finally taking the EMEA crown. Do you think this is all just due to the meta, or did you just evolve as a team?
I think the team has evolved. I think Kellex is really good and it's a big upgrade. But I also think it's a really good meta for ENCE right now.
I'm curious for you, to be on this team and finally be winning a championship. ENCE has been in the last 2 grand finals in the EMEA, but finally secures the first place. How did you guys feel coming into today? Was it total confidence? I mean, you guys had kind of not dropped the map so far in the bracket. VP, of course, did fight back well, but what was the emotion like, not only coming in today, but also finally securing a championship for the team?
I think we were a little worried to face SSG, because last stream they beat us, but they got 3-0'd, so we knew we were going to win against VP.
You were just that confident in the matchup against Virtus.Pro. Was there ever any doubt throughout the series? They tied it up 2-2 after Paraiso, but you just were confident in your game throughout.
Yeah, I think we just lost to ourselves on Paraiso and Circuit. They played well, we played bad. But yeah, I think I still thought we were going to win.
Okay. I do want to ask one more question, of course. Now, I saw you back in Dallas, and that time I was part of that Twisted Minds roster, and I'm not going to bring up that Twisted Minds roster because we can kind of forget about that. But I do want to ask about you being part of this ENCE team now. It really does feel like this ENCE team, this roster, it just clicks. It just feels like you have so much chemistry and play so well together. That must feel so great for you to be part of this team as Stockholm approaches later on this year.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, this team is just really nice every day to play in. Like every day it's not pain to scrim like it's been in other teams. So yeah, it's very enjoyable to play the game.
That's great.
Even when sometimes we lose, it's still enjoyable.
Yeah, wins and losses, man. You gotta take both. Today it was the victory, though. You guys absolutely popped off. Sky, thank you so much for joining us once again. Congratulations to you and the entire ENCE squad.
Thank you.